So what's up, everybody, and welcome back to Bridge the Gap. This is the show where we talk to interesting people such as yourselves. We learn your life story, and we try to extract some knowledge nuggets from the experience to enhance all of ourselves and thus bridge the gap via, new perspectives and whatnot. My name is Holden Stephan Roy, and joining me, I have two people doing the show at the same time. We have Smoking Inc.
Magua.
And if you guys want to just introduce yourselves individually.
This is Rozwel.
And this is Hache Real.
Boom. And so we're going to do it a little bit differently because we are going through two people at the same time today. So it's going to be a little back and forth, and we're going to get through the experience. And you should know these men a little bit better by the end of this. It's a pleasure to have y'all here. We've been performing a lot over the last little bit. Yep. In my opinion, they are some of the most talented musicians in the hip-hop sphere that we're a part of that you're going to see. From the beat making to the singing. Even just last night I watched this man bust out a guitar and do covers that made most of the white boys on the internet with acoustic guitars look bad.
I was just getting into my MGK,
Yo, he really be doing it though. Like, he really be doing it.
He's on some next level.
He's getting paid in a way where I don't think anyone ever expected. But with that, we have a kind of opening question to get the ball rolling. And we're going to kind of bounce back between the two of you. But to get this started right so that it all connects, can you let us know where each of you started your life? Like the youngest you. Fair. I didn't realize this would be a hard question.
Youngest me.
Like, were you born in Montreal?
Yeah. I was born in Montreal. Was in the West Island most of my life, DDO area, Bucktown.
Hey, say word.
Yeah, man. And then, I don't know, came out to DG for a bit when I met my sister.
Fair. We will definitely get to that phase, but I mean, we really starting at that young point.
Yeah, man.
And you?
I was born in Brunswick.
I'll say word.
I moved around a lot.
Okay.
My daddy was a pastor, and we went from like church to church and stuff. I was actually adopted. I was born by a mom who died, rest in peace.
Right.
But real daddy don't know where he went. So my adopted parents are my real parents. But
respect.
You know what I mean? They raised me. I left my house at like 14. That's whatever. Let's call it a mutual agreement.
Well, before we get on to that, because like my opening question, because it's all about the music journey. I'm doing like a slightly redacted version of this because there's two people. We do have a bit of an opening question. I'm going to do a little redacted version, and the short version is most people start their musical journeys in these interviews and when they talk to people from like this adolescent point when they start making music and when they start getting their own identity, because for most people, 10 to 12, that's when you really start to get your own taste in music. But before that, everything around you influenced your music taste. Your parents had music playing, everybody had music playing, the radio, all this type of vibes and stuff would have impacted you. That's why we bring it back to your earliest days. So we know in your case, you're in the Maritimes. We know in your case, you're in Montreal. So the real opening question is, if you could bring us back to the youngest version of yourself you could remember being, and tell us what it sounded like to be you before you had control over the music in your life.
A lot of music around me was like Michael Jackson, Styx, Eagles, Bon Jovi. Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
Hendrix. I had a lot of.
Was your parents were playing it?
Yeah, my mom playing that because my father, I didn't get to meet my father, so.
Right.
But yeah.
So your mom was a big fan of like the rock era, all that shit?
Definitely. Her and my stepdad, they would play a lot of that rock stuff a lot of times, and I love that stuff.
Was
I like to really entertain, like they're on stage, they're like playing instruments while singing at the same time. That stuff just caught my attention.
Or no, was it just
the music they were like playing on, like every time Bon Jovi would come on, I'm singing. Like, okay, I like this. This is different.
Was it like a radio thing, or did they have like the records and all that?
All of that, like in the car, radio, at home, records, cassette tapes.
So music was like always around you, like when you were already interested in it when you were young, like
Yo,
from a
big
spectator point, or were you like a little one running around doing dance routines and singing and
A
all
little
that?
bit of both, you know, like when Michael Jackson was out, that's when I really got into it more, you know, because I was a light-skinned kid growing up and I seen him and his complexion. I was able to relate to that, you know. And
Okay.
then
Yeah,
just
I've
the
heard a lot
music.
of people talk about Michael Jackson, but nobody ever said that one time before.
Yeah, man. I really related to that still. And then all the shit he went through, well, we won't get into that, but
But like as a kid though, like a lot of the Michael Jackson folk were like the whole family would go do dance routines and like everybody would really
exactly.
get into it.
And
Was that
and
kind
it
of an
mostly is
experience?
the videos too. They were just so intricate, you know. It wasn't just like somebody like singing in front of a camera. Like they were doing full routines, you know,
Right.
like full dress
Next level.
makeup. Yeah, like it
Next
was actually
level.
like almost like a movie and a music
Yeah.
video at the same time. It was really cool. And then you bring that on stage too, and I'm like, what? They're putting on a show. That's what really got me as a kid.
So you would like see the live concerts and all that stuff like from the TV.
Yeah, and I'd like wish I could be like in that position because I could only imagine how it felt to be him. All these people like screaming, you know, like it was vibes.
Mm.
They had great music too. So
So music's always around for me. Did you ever like try your hand at like dancing and singing like in a more like your own way, or was it just kind of that?
I definitely got into dancing. Most of my life through teenage years, that's what I did before I really found
Right.
hip hop, like rapping and that. I was doing hip hop dance, probably
That was
from the
more
age of like,
a adolescent thing.
yeah, you know, from the age of like, I guess 9 all the way to like 17, 18, even 19.
So what gets
Started
you?
young.
What
Right.
brought you down the path of hip hop dancing? Like how does that appear?
It was my homeboy actually. It was really funny. It was this guy Charlie,
Charlie, that hurt,
and he was playing like Eminem, DMX. He introduced me to hip hop because you know my mom just wanted to keep me away from that side because she didn't want to.
Can't fix the sound, Willie. We tried to fix the sound.
It is what it is. We rolling with it.
And we just going with it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I kind of fell into hip hop because I loved it. You know, that was part of my finding my culture too. You know, once I found out I was Trinidadian, it was like, okay, let me find the other side of me.
Right. So for you, it's like music's around from your parents.
Yeah.
Or your mom. And, you know, absorbing the culture of the pop era. And then your boy brings you into the hip hop world
Oh,
when
yeah.
you get a little bit older. And then that leads into the dance side of it all.
Exactly, you know, like even seeing it on TV, you know, seeing the guys doing Harlem Shake, all the walks, so you know, like, like so many dances, man, so many.
Were you just like good at it, so you kept doing it? Because like I wasn't good at it, so like nobody
honestly,
ever encouraged me to go.
I
be
would
a
get
dancer,
a lot
you
of
know?
compliments. People said I was good. We did a couple of gigs growing up, you know, like we performed at Club Dome one time with a reggaeton artist. We did a little choreography for the man when he was performing. It was really fun, you know. Did a bunch of stuff, you know. Worked
Right.
with different people, and that's a whole story in itself. That
But we can definitely get to that because you know it's moving on a bit. But we didn't even get into any of Jesse's younger days too. So it's like the same question for you. I would love to know, like, especially because
Younger
you said
days,
it's
huh?
like your dad was a preacher and you're moving around. So does
Yeah.
that put you into like the church grind your whole like? Because for a whole period of my life, my dad would go through these super Christian phases. And during those super Christian phases, it would impact everything. Like all of a sudden we were holier and there was different music being allowed to be listened to. And then a year later we were back on the normals and the bump what you wanted. So I could only imagine like what that could be like. So like did that impact the music that you were exposed to?
Honestly, my upbringing in the terms of religion really set my views for my future at a certain point. But I was always, like, as a youngster, I was always going out, seeing my friends, seeing, like, what kind of music they're listening to. My parents mostly played jazz and Christian records. My dad hid it from me for a long time, I think, but he was a huge fan of Bon Jovi. I just never heard him play it. Like, now I know this. Like, now I figured this shit out, but
Right.
beforehand, I had no idea. I don't know why. It doesn't really matter, but at the end of the day, I went out and really looked out for what I wanted to listen to, because not everything I felt was an attribute to me. I was like, nah, you know, it's good, it's great.
But that's not
But I
really-
wanted to like search for something I also wanted to make, and like dabbled down the
Before,
path
like
of
you made
everything.
it off. So like when you're younger, like did you always want to make music, or
I
was
always
that,
wanted to make music.
like since you were like 4, you were ready to go?
Funny thing is, I actually decided I want to make music in a church. I saw this guy drumming. I went behind the drum set, and I was obviously told to not play the drums, but I really didn't care. I was kind of a rebel. And I just started hitting the drum set, man. And I was just like, yo, this is the craziest feeling ever. Like, just the sound of something going boom, bam, boom, and I was like, yo, this is it. This is what I want to do. But I always knew that. It was either that or being a criminal. That came through my teenage years. But
I imagine that at like 4 or 5, you weren't quite at the I'm gonna be a criminal phase yet.
you know, some people go through it. Some people don't. And like, yo, I respect those who
That's fair.
who
but,
manage to
like,
go through without that thought.
the
Because
church thing
it's
is-
not a good thing. I'm not proud of it, but I'm happy it happened because it taught me a lot. But for real, like on the reels, my music started with the whole drum set thing, and I was like, from here, like, what can I do? My friends were like listening to rap and this and this and that. I got super into hip hop at a young age, and I started writing, and I was told don't rap for a lot of different reasons. I have back in that time, to be me and not knowing my background, not knowing who my real dad was, and I still don't know exactly who my real dad was, but I have a bigger idea on my background now.
Right.
And I know I have a mixed complexion, it just doesn't always show. Summertime a little bit more. But the fact is, my background is that, and that's probably where all this like rhythm and music comes from. But whether it does or not, the fact is I wanted to do hip hop, and people were like, you can't be Eminem. And that's what I always got. I'm not gonna lie. You can't be another Eminem. I'm like, whatever. You know.
This is like, when did you decide you wanted to do hip hop? Like,
I must have been in, like, I decided that when I was like young. Like, I like the beats, you know. Like, I was always about the beats, and like I did enjoy guitar, and I enjoyed a lot of different things. But for me, the beats were like the thing. Like the drums, man, always got me. Like, I love the rhythms, and so hip hop was the way to go, man. Like, I heard Wu-Tang, and like I heard all sorts of stuff. Like everybody from Wu-Tang and their solos. That was probably like my basis where it started. Obviously, I listened to Eminem, Jay-Z, 50 Cent, like all that stuff. Ice Cube was a huge influence for me. Like, I really, really loved Ice Cube and the way he was just like almost prophetic about the stuff he said. You know, for me, that was my vibe. But like, people are like, don't do that. You know, so I translated into reggae, and then that's where I really started.
people were more cool with you doing reggae.
Absolutely. It was weird, man.
People are funny like
I pulled
that.
off the
I don't know
dreads.
that I
I
would
pulled off the
like-
whole voice and everything, and
I guess there's that
fly.
whole wave of dudes like Sublime and shit that are like coming at that era that are already like blurring that line between everything. That's wild. I could definitely understand it because I was like 12 when Eminem popped, right? So like it wasn't exactly like I went to Wager, so it wasn't exactly like it was the most, you can come rap with us and play, especially if you're like me, which, don't get me wrong, it was like people told me I couldn't write my poetry, but like it was a joke to people because like, come on, you know, like I don't necessarily fit the motif of a 2003 rapper in any of the capacity. Like there isn't really until like a couple of years later any big lanes like that I could picture in like the more mainstream version of it.
Yeah.
But so you're basically young. You have a dad who likes Bon Jovi, but otherwise only lets you listen to jazz and Christian music, which is fair.
That's what played in the house. They let me listen to whatever I wanted, which I super appreciate. Like looking back on that, because I know there's other. There's other entities out there, you know, like you can't listen to this.
I wasn't allowed to
Get
listen
out
to
of my
music
house.
with swearing at all. One time, my dad snapped my entire CD collection because of some fucks.
That's
the whole
brutal.
thing. This is back in the you spent $20 sometimes to get a disc.
That's crazy. The only time I got my CDs destroyed, well, not destroyed, they just got taken back. Honestly, I was like robbing HMV like there was no tomorrow, and like one day security guard he just caught me, and I started running, and he tackled me to the ground, bro. And then he found my CD case, and he's like, "This is from here. This is from here. This is from here." He just took it all back. I paid the fine. I can talk about it now.
Yeah, it's like that, eh? 'Cause I don't think people. No, I mean that.
But that's how much I love music,
People don't
bro.
realize the
Right.
statute of there's no real statute of limitation in Canada. So technically, when you're on my show talking about some petty shit you did when you were younger, in theory, they can use it against you if they really want to. If they really want.
But I paid that fine.
Which means you can say whatever. 'Cause,
Yeah.
at that point, accept the guilt of the claim and blah blah blah, and it's a closed
Oh
case.
man, I didn't feel
Facts.
guilty.
Yeah, dude.
I didn't feel guilty. If I didn't have money again, no, I won't say what I was gonna say. I'm just saying that's
It is
how much I
live
love
on
music.
the internet. We cannot, unfortunately, edit the live parts.
But that is really how much music meant to me, man. I went out and got the music because I needed to listen to it. Like I would go crazy if I didn't have music or instruments around me,
Facts.
and I still do. I remember times where like I had to sell certain instruments, like my electric drum set and stuff like that, and I think I got depressed, like, well, something like that.
Well, for sure, because when it comes to your routine and shit, you know, it's like, and you gotta get rid of it, and you're like, fuck, man.
Yeah, I felt messed up, bro. Like
Especially-
I'd never do that again.
Especially if you're in a circumstance where you have to sell something that's of value to you, like a drum set, which it's not cheap. So
Yeah.
it's like and then it's also something where, especially if you like banging shit, it's gonna help you get out all
Love
kinds
banging
of
shit.
frustration in a healthy way.
Yeah, that translated into smashing glass, and that's not good.
No, it's not good.
That's
at all.
really bad.
It's really not good. No,
Baseball bats
man,
and
he
such. It's
super not the same. Nah, drums is
walking in the
definitely-
door.
speaking of glass.
the heck's
Dude,
going
you pull out a bag of piffers day before. Like that's crazy. Yo, that's wild, bro. You see that?
Yeah, pre-roll my shit, right?
That's
'Cause,
crazy.
like,
You're ready.
Well, it's because like
So am I.
I found it more time efficient to I found it way more time efficient to basically roll like a 14s at one shot than to roll a 14s individual. He's just pulling up
Shot
more
glasses.
cups. Five shot glasses.
So
Fair.
the reason be, because I know it's your favorite thing in the world. I just bought this.
my fucking
I
god.
just bought this fancy jar of dill pickles. Dill garlic pickles.
that's
Let me tell you, the best shot I've ever had is called the pickleback. Like I know you love pickles. Like deep down inside somewhere, you're just not admitting it.
Just I do not like it.
You want to try a pickle shot?
I do not want to
Did
pick
you
a
do it?
shot. Nah.
All right, so I'll leave the last shot glass in my pocket.
Oh,
But
man.
Oh my gosh,
This
that's hilarious.
motherfucker.
here you go.
Yeah, that cracks
I didn't
me
realize
the fuck
that I have to pour mine last. Yeah.
What
There
the
we go.
fuck is this?
I bought some Crown. You know.
That's lit. It's very courteous of you.
Yeah.
He's like, if you don't want pickles, I got Crown.
I got Crown. I got Crown.
That's fair. Yeah, this is a real thing that happens in my life. If people don't know, like it's escalating to like more custom videos and stuff. Super.
Oh, you don't even know, man. Some of my boys, like, he just sent me like this crazy video. I gotta send it to you. But he really thinks you love pickles.
That's alright. People can think. That's the beauty of it all, because it's like if you don't know, then it's like it's one of those things where, based on your understanding of the pickle situation, it lets me know how much of my life you're aware of. It's such an interesting metric. Yo, dead ass. I was like,
It's always so hard
we
to
had
open
some pickles in the fridge because, well, I'm
Really?
not a huge. This guy just spilled pickle juice on his pants.
I'm cool with that.
Fair. You won't smell like pickles after.
Oh, it's running. Oh, it's running.
Yeah,
down.
Bonnie is pro pickles,
Really?
so she
You
How am I
didn't think
gonna-
about this part.
I didn't think about this. I really didn't think about
I
this.
don't know how we're doing the shots, but all right, we can clean
He's
it
gonna
up
be
after.
pouring it all over
We can
himself.
live with this
I
shit.
guess I'm getting wet.
Guess so.
That's what she-
All right.
This is actually happening, folks. This is not scripted.
I've
This
come
is
to terms
Oh,
with this.
bro.
All right, here we go.
No, but what?
Yeah, this is called pickleback. So you take your
Are you ready to drink the
Cool,
pickle
look at you
juice?
there.
and then you just grab
Roll,
the shot. Yeah.
Oh, this is like, this is.
Now it's easier to pour because it's
Like,
not
I'm
all
a
full,
fan
you know?
of pickles, but like, I don't know. That's a lot of fucking
That's
pickle
why
juice,
that
man.
third design of the two pickles is for guys like Sean over here, who basically isn't fully committed to the pickle like a Jesse.
Cheers, boys.
It's like, I don't know. I'm just
Cheers.
I'm picky about pickle.
That's what I'm saying.
So what the fuck are we supposed to do first?
Success.
Drink both.
So crown first, pickles
Oh,
you chase.
son of a gun.
Tastes like a hamburger.
I don't know.
It's actually not lime.
Yeah.
Tastes like a hamburger.
Oh fuck.
Tastes like a hamburger.
Like a cheeseburger, like McDonald's cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Like I be getting mine with no pickles.
That's actually fucked up.
So.
What the fuck did I just go through?
Well,
That's crazy, right?
that was a moment. That was the first pickleback shot you've ever done.
Yeah.
Lit.
That was crazy though, right?
Like I'm cool with other people liking pickles. Like for me, it's like everyone can appreciate them. But yeah,
Well, for me, it was because of my stepfather. You know, he's Jewish, so his father makes his own dill pickles. So I'd get so many pickles, and man knows how to make dill pickles, bro. And I'd eat like jars of that stuff.
you mean like that's for real?
I'm being serious.
It's like when you were young, there was just like homemade pickles up in the crib. And
Yeah, man. His father was a caterer, so like he did a lot of catering for a lot of big movie sets out here in Montreal and stuff.
I mess with that.
That's fair. That's actually really hard. And like to know that like he made his own pickles that were so fire that he's catering to famous people and shit. That's lit. Like you can't have bad pickles is what I'm saying.
That's it. You know, that's why I said I'm picky. That's why I was worried. I'm like, I don't know that brand. And it's like,
Willie says he's done picklebacks a bunch in Cornwall days with JV Entertainment.
Yo, that's what's up, man.
I think it's JV. But yeah. So what about you? When did you? What actually? I'm gonna ask you both kind of the same question, but we'll let Sean answer first because you know Jesse just had a minute there. Somewhere around that adolescent period, usually there's like a first song you hear, and that first song is the one where like something's different, and this is like your new jam, and like music kind of changes for you. Like, do you remember that moment in your life?
there's been a couple, because there's a couple of artists that really changed the industry for me. One that stood out the most, though, I would say is DMX.
Yes, right.
Dr. Dre.
Right.
I really liked because of the production.
So like when you were young, you were already attracted to production.
Yeah, beats was the thing. Like I'd be in the shower and I'd just be like beatboxing or whatever was humming in my head all the time. Had like melodies in my head, you know.
So it isn't even about the rhymes. You're like a dancer, beatboxer.
Yeah.
All of this shit is really more important.
Yeah, man. I really like love the whole culture of it, you know, like just feeling the energy from the music. It's like I feel like every beat has a soul because it has a story to be told.
Right.
You know what I mean? And everyone has their own story when they hear that beat, so it's like it's different. It's different.
So you're like young, absorbing it all like that. And how are you getting new music? I know how Jesse was getting his music collection, but how are
Me,
you
it was
getting-
through friends. I had friends sneak me CDs. My mom would find the CDs sometimes. Be like, you can't listen to like Missy Elliott. She listened to Missy Elliott. She's like, oh yeah, I like this song. And then she would listen to like the context, and she's like, oh, yeah, nope. You know. And at this time, I was going through a lot in school. You know, a lot of things I don't want to talk about.
Well, that's fair. Not
School
House
can be
arrest
heavy.
things, you know, got in trouble, fighting racism type shit. So like, when 50 Cent came out, it was a wrap for me. Like, I gravitated to that and G Unit and like Dipset.
In grade 8 or so when that.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like Dipset was my shit, man. Like
That was crazy.
Uncasa, yeah, freaking Joel Santana, like.
Yeah.
Even Cameron, I fucks with a couple of stuff. Same thing, Jim Jones, you know. But like, I don't know. It was a different time for me, you know. I was going through shit, finding out a lot about life, you know, like coming to grips to knowing that my father is passed and I won't get to meet him type shit. Yeah, you know, and then finding out things at a certain age, like when I turned 18, found out I had a sister and I didn't know all this time. So
That's just crazy.
Yeah, that is like I know Natasha like touched on it on her version of this, but like, yeah, how did that happen? If you want to talk about it at all.
Basically, just I was clashing with life, you know. I was going through shit. I was going in and out of like, gang problems, you know, a lot of fucked up shit. Arguing with my mom, threatening to throw me into foster care a couple of times, you know, which I understand. Dealing with what she was dealing with wasn't easy, you know. You got a kid who's rebelling. He's putting his life at risk, you know, going through a lot of crazy shit. You know, so I don't know.
It'd be like that.
Yeah, and we just blew up one day, and I just turned around. I'm like, I want to know everything. Like, no more holding back. And she just dropped that bomb. I was like, okay, numbers. Like, this ends now. I need to talk to the other side of the family.
Right.
And that's when it all went down. I remember calling my granny and being like, yeah, it's Sean. She's like, what?
It's a
She
crazy
tripped,
revelation.
right? She tripped. You know, my sister wasn't home at that time. And my granny said, okay, I won't tell her. Call back at this time as soon as she get home. I'm like, okay. I called, and that's when my sister's like, hey. I'm like, what's up? She's like, who is this? I'm like, it's your brother. She's like, what? I'm like, it's your brother. She's like, no. And then we just clicked from then.
That's wild. So, like, your entire, like, non-adult life completely, you know, like the childhood when you,
18 years,
right?
You'd be bonding with your sibling, and then you only link up as adults, and with, like, in the fact that you also are so tight today is incredible stills, right?
Oh, for sure. It's like a movie, you know.
Like that. It feels like a movie where you've seen that movie go in all the directions.
No, it's true. And then, like, when I got more pictures and information about my father, and then when I first met my granny, she almost had a heart attack. Because I walked in the room, and she's like, whoa, it's like a twin of your father. So that just tripped out everybody. So it's like, I really do this music thing to be like a second chance for him type thing, too, you know, and help people out.
Ah, that's dope. So yeah, Jesse, do you remember your first song that, like, captivated you?
My first song captivated me. Cash rules everything around me, baby.
Say word.
For real. Like, that was the one. That was the one. And then I found all these other people. Then, you know, Eminem was blowing up at the same time. There's a lot of Eminem songs. What's that one? I think My Daddy's Crazy.
Yeah. My
I
Dad's
love
Gone
that
Crazy.
song. Yeah. I love that song when I was a kid. I was like, oh, that's cool. He, like, made some weird stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Eminem was different. Like,
He's-
that's what people think now. Like,
Yeah.
I think I had a CD at one point that was just 167 Eminem songs.
That's crazy.
Back when you had those MP3 discs, not quite
Yeah.
MP3 players, but they were still CDs, but you could load MP3 files onto them.
Like, little disc
released
opens
that
up and
many
you put that
songs,
little
though.
disc.
That's insane.
Like at
Oh,
that
yeah,
point,
for sure.
though, I think M Show was already out, maybe even
Yeah,
Encore.
he's like, what, 12 out? Oh,
So
my
yeah,
albums,
Encore
yeah.
was out at that point, and then there was all at that. Once the Napster era hit, all the mixtape shit kind of like floated around. So if you like, a lot of people, I think, don't realize how much music their favorite artist produced that was that B-side quality that people don't release now, but they
Facts.
did back in the day.
Yeah.
And it would exist on physical discs that, like, you had to cop in person, and most of that shit never hit the internet.
Preach.
True.
So, like, yeah, Eminem. I
Yeah.
remember copying this disc on eBay one time, and it was just hidden Eminem gems. That's it. It was just back. Literally, I bought a mixtape that somebody had made of mixtape Eminem joints.
Craziness. It's wild. Yo, Beastie Boys?
Oh, that's tough.
That's two, man.
This thing, so many artists, I always start forgetting about people and stuff. And like, there's so many artists influenced me throughout the years.
It's true, though. That's one of the things, like, I feel like it's like that for a lot of artists that really get into it, too. Like, there wasn't just one person. Like, I could probably say that, like, C.R.E.A.M was, like, the first, like, song.
Yeah.
But at that same time, I was listening to, like, so many other songs. Like, yo, like, Hood Mentality, which came a little bit later. But, like, oh,
Was it just
The Lock.
Ice Cube, man.
Ice Cube for sure, but that's like all day, you know, Ludacris.
Ludacris. Oh my God, I've been listening to that a lot recently. That's actually one of the first songs too.
Ludacris? Like, oh my god.
Ludacris, Act a Fool, man. That track, bro.
We played it at the bar yesterday.
Yeah, I've been playing. Oh man, that's like my childhood right there.
Yeah, man.
That's my childhood. That's before I went into my whole reggae phase, and after that I started getting into like some rock too, because I was like, yo, if I'm gonna like get into reggae,
Oh, facts.
I'm gonna get into like rock too, and like I was like Billy Talent,
What's up, Linda?
you know,
Really talented.
Good Charlotte.
Right.
I
Limp
found Sum
Bizkit,
41.
bro, like,
Limp Bizkit was
come
nuts, but I listened to
on.
Limp Bizkit when I was listening to hip hop
Korn.
still. And Korn. Anything that had to do with hip hop in any kind of way, I listened to as a child. I think that is one of the things we try to do too. We try to like fuse everything with hip hop, because like that's beautiful. You know what I mean?
It's
Like,
that new metal era.
yeah,
Big
yeah.
fusion.
We're like, yo, here's the
Big
thing
fusion.
about new metal to people. If you are this one age group, of our age group,
That's for my mama.
it was like one of the latest fucking experiences, and everyone older and younger than us pretty much didn't like it till Travis Barker decided to bring it back like 3 years ago.
That guy's legend though, still.
He is.
But
Crazy jump. Yo.
were you playing any instruments at that point, or you tried and then you moved? Like you said, you tried a bit and you were just singing at that point.
So how it worked for me is I tried writing raps, this and that, and like I was bought a guitar because my talent was recognized by my parents. They're like, yeah, like this kid loves music, I'm gonna buy him a guitar. So they bought me a guitar and I played it, wrote some songs, whatever, this and that. But I really, like I was still on like I want to write raps. Like I want to write rap. And then like eventually it phased out. By then I was already on my own. Like by the time I got my first reggae band, like 14. By the time I got my first reggae band and I started like hitting stages, I was in a reggae band when I hit stages, and I was like 14 already. But like that entire time was a transition for me. So like starting to listen to reggae, ska, rock, punk. Like I also realized at one point that I wanted to diversify myself and listen to everything. I listened to opera, dude. Like, I'm not even shitting. Like, I listened to opera. Like, I listened to pretty much everything I could get my hands on, good or bad. And I made my judgment from there. But
correct.
I wanted to find out everything there was so that I didn't know this, but now I know this. When I come back to hip-hop, now I have this whole knowledge. And not only that, but I've been on stage in a reggae band, in rock bands. I did a metal jazz band, bro.
And you're singing in all of these bands.
I sang, and in the reggae band, I was playing guitar.
Because you're like jumping through a whole lot of things that probably were like a lot of. Because who the fuck is really out there leaving home at 14, fronting out fucking reggae bands in like, what, the mid 2000s?
It was, it must have been like 2005, 2006. I was
like you gotta like maybe if it was like 94, this is a more common story. It's not really the era to me where this was the norm of what was happening, because usually you'd rebel and do other things at this point in life, not start a reggae band.
Yo, that was a crazy time in my life though. Like that reggae band really set a precedent. Like it set a bar. Like I was like, I can't. Like, the reggae band got so big so fast. And by big, like, we weren't worldwide or anything, but, like, we were known in Montreal.
Right. What was the band?
It was called the 5-Piece.
The 5-Piece.
But the 5-piece. But, we all smoke weed, so. Right. The 5-piece, you know what I'm saying?
Understood.
And, like, that got big real quick. And, like, we were playing in colleges. We started playing the days of the city, like Beaconsfield Day, Kirkland Day. We started playing all this stuff. And, like, we didn't think we'd get on that. Because we're called the freaking 5-piece. Like, no one's going to want the 5-piece at Beaconsfield Day. But, hell yeah, man. They were like, yeah, man. You play what? Reggae? All right, bet.
I bet the people who booked you did not get the joke.
Probably not.
No.
They just saw the word peace.
They're like, oh, they're nice boys.
Yeah.
But then you were a reggae band, so like, I don't know. This and that.
Did you make appropriate family-friendly music?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Most of our topic was anti-war. There was a few, obviously weed songs, but most of it was like really about freedom. Like when I looked at reggae and I studied that shit deep down, the whole weed part is tied into spirituality, which is tied into freedom.
Right.
None of it is there to be drugged up and high and like forget about life.
No, I hear you.
It's to get into a different position to not be thinking about life the way you are.
Altered state of reality is to, if I'm not mistaken, the idea is also to connect with God in a more close and intimate way.
Absolutely.
Where I'm not going to pretend with the amount of weed I smoke that happens no more, but I certainly remember those days.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Oh, that's lit though. So you guys were like really, but I think what's really key is that like you didn't just make the band. You basically geeked the fuck out, studied the shit out of the culture, and came into it with an understanding of what the essence of it's supposed to be. So when you got presented to the world, the real heads were like, oh, I fucks with that.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, like Danny Rebel and the KGB nowadays they going everywhere, and we had the honor to like share a stage with them and the Skinnies and like some crazy people, man. Like
This is all when you're a minor.
yeah, I was like 15.
That's crazy.
16.
Bro, when I was 15, I was writing sappy love poetry and shit.
That's good too, though.
But
You know what I mean?
no, it was not. I think I can remember my performing. It was doing some fucking lip sync performance at cadets and shit. Like that's what my life.
No shit.
You were performing at like. I just trying to give you like a context for how incredible that is, right? Like. You're like 14, 15 years old in Montreal in a reggae band performing with names, getting known. Like this is not the shit that people normally do.
That was fun as hell, though.
I believe that. Especially at that age. That sounds like a crazy
sure.
time to be able to get reckless and know you can always grow up one day if you choose to.
Absolutely. That was definitely on my mind at some point throughout that process.
Did you guys like tour? Or was
No.
it like
No,
just
it
all
was
Montreal?
very local, very local. And, you know, we went through like this jazz metal band. We thought of touring. Stuff always falls apart, I find, like with a lot of people. Like I know that I'm blessed beyond measure to have been in this. Like I met him when I like moved to Montreal. We didn't know this thing was going to be a thing like 10 years later.
When did you move to Montreal?
I was 13 and a half.
So it's when you dipped out, you came to Montreal from like the maritime areas?
No, we moved to Montreal first, and then like everything made a huge 180. Sorry, like my dad went from like preaching to like being a real estate agent.
I mean,
That's pretty cool, man. I was proud of him. A lot of cool
it's
stuff.
like they're kind of parallel skills.
Yeah, I learned a lot from everything that happened, but there was just, you know, like to be honest, like it was all about like girlfriends and girls and stuff, and like I said, let's call it a mutual agreement. I decided, along with my parents, that I was gonna leave the house, so I left, and you know, I went on my venture, and it was crazy. There's a lot of other stuff involved. I really did some crazy stuff, but
You guys like met like 20 years ago.
yeah, facts. Yeah, it's been like
Just
almost
out of the
20 years,
context,
man.
right? Because, like, I mean, to me, you guys are like these figures that appeared on Facebook one day in the midst of all the other people that appear on Facebook today once your mutual friends hit a certain number in the Montreal English old man hip-hop scene, as I call it.
Yeah.
That algorithm.
Yeah, the algorithm.
But, like, so, like, your guys' like, lives and your backstory and your history, right? Like, I don't think people really know how accomplished you are. Like, I can see you perform on stage and be like, oh, say word, he's at like a level that's different. But like nobody knows what that means unless you're gonna, you know, like I don't know if there's like all these other interviews where you break it down in all sorts of detail and shit. But that's why this is super interesting to me because like, damn, dude, 14 years, that whole teenage run.
Yeah.
Yo, none of us was really doing that, and I know because I talked to a lot of us, not most of us. So some people were. Some people really do have these incredible stories where they did it, but like it's rare to be honest. Most people's lives are more like I was average in teenagers, and then as an adult, I took shit more seriously. And then you were dancing and all this other shit too, right? During that phase.
Yeah. I was going through some shit. I was going through more like a little bit more street shit. Yeah, it was right time I was down my worst actually. I was homeless and shit. Doing my thing, really getting deep into some shit.
Right.
And I came across this little rebel over here. I was like, yo, who is this kid? And then the music is what really connected us. I kept telling him, like, yo, bro.
Yo, he
Some
managed our
songs.
band for a fat minute.
Yeah.
Like that same.
Like we stopped talking for a while because we had to, like, I got really friggin' sick, so I went home, got better. He actually moved. I think he moved to California at that point.
I worked in California.
Right. So while you're doing the band thing, you become the manager of that same band.
Not that one.
Okay.
So there's like a good like
It was a good, like, 10
4
years.
bands.
Just trying to understand the timeline here.
Yeah. Well, we had split ways just because he had to get going. He was going through some shit and he wanted to get going. I had to go through some life.
So you guys linked up while you were in the reggae band, like met each other, or was it after the reggae band?
After the
Exactly,
reggae band.
yeah.
Okay, so
Right
you did the
after
reggae
reggae
band thing, and what were you doing in the teenagers? Were you like involved in music at that point?
I was involved in music, hustling, doing a whole bunch of different shit.
Fair.
That time was fucked.
It's a good word.
Appreciate the delicate nature.
It's the only way to explain it.
Of that. Like, were you involved in like dance competitions, making beats?
I did do stuff like that. There was a thing called Street Heat at Dawson. They used to do that. I had done a crumb competition. I won that.
That's sick.
When was that?
Fuck, on the street. Was that 2007 or 2009?
Right, so it was late 2000 era.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
It was back in the day, you know, like different people were on Dawson Student Union, you know.
Fair enough.
So things were able to happen. It was a lot more like
This is
for the people, you know.
wait, you can't do hip hop competitions at Dawson no more?
I don't know about all that, but like after what happened at Dawson, it kind of like
Oh, right.
changed a lot. You know?
Right. The whole thing happened at
Yeah,
Dawson. Right?
I was almost there that day, so like I got lucky. We
Bonnie was there.
we
No
were
way.
that's fucked
Yeah,
up.
because like we're all, like I was at Abbott when that day. I was like, so like we're all that age and shit. I lived with a dude who was in the atrium. In case y'all didn't know, Google the Dawson situation of what 2007 or 8.
That was wild. Bunch of pew pew pew.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
without
messed
saying
up.
it directly, that
Yeah,
happened.
Yeah, it was a shock
It
for
wasn't the
Montreal.
Gucci like at all.
It was not.
No
That
one
was the
expected
weirdest-
that.
Cause like I remember sitting in like the other school, like, oh shit, is it gonna happen here?
Also,
everyone was
Montreal
like-
dark times for college students for real.
Right. It was. Those were times where it was rough. I mean, like, yo, we really didn't have like social media like that when growing up. You know,
Not
like
we do today.
it was MSN
Yeah.
Messenger and stuff.
Yo,
but like,
Messenger!
yo,
Shout out to MSN Messenger.
right?
Where did
Like,
them motherfuckers go?
and that was like the start of it. Before that, like when I was younger, man, I had to actually go to people's house.
Ring the
Call their
fucking
house.
doorbell, man.
Call the number, be like, yo, are you
Yeah,
home?
yeah. So-and-so's not here right now. He's over by the park, or he's over by there. So okay.
I remember when we used to have a house phone.
You have to be like
I
you have
yo,
to be
those
like
are
an
good
investigator to find your friends. Like it was crazy.
Yeah, it was a different era. Like you
Yeah.
had to-
Yeah.
and then you had to memorize motherfuckers' phone numbers.
Right?
Absolutely.
Now you can just open
had
up one
10
app and you can see where they are exactly.
Yeah, one app. We used to have 10 programmable numbers in my house phone. And we had like a high class phone. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think we had no programmable numbers. We had that like I don't think it was like the standard one that people had. Like we had like our own phones because like that used to be a way to flex too. Like back
Yeah.
when because you could get those like personality phones that were like either weird shapes or like cool designs and shit. Kind of like having a cell phone, except you were like it's kind of like how MySpace lets you have personality, and the modern cell phone market's like Facebook, where it's like fuck you, this is what it is.
Oh man, MySpace, High Five,
MySpace.
Pouchon,
High Five. Nobody talks about High Five no more.
Pouchon. That was the one. That was the one from Montreal, and I found out it was over.
I don't know what that is. What's
It's the
Pouchon?
French version of all of that,
That's
Yo, is
so
it fun?
fun.
Like,
and it's like you like rate on like you rate people and stuff, and like you can
That's so
chat.
Right.
Yeah, it was different. It was different. It was a lot of French people.
that is the
Lot of
first I've
English.
literally ever heard of
I
that.
haven't heard of it either, but now
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm happy to learn this. I want to go check it out now when I get home. Like, what was Pouchon?
Oh,
What's
yo, man,
this? Tell me about
Pouchon.com.
French.
How we spell that?
Me-
Oh,
Pouchon,
I think.
Pouchon.
Because I think Pouchon's like a word means hot or something or something. I don't know what it meant.
So
One of my
basically,
French friends
it's
tried to
like
break
what
it down. I
Facebook
understand.
was supposed to be the hot or not shit, and it
Yeah.
just was that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like mostly, Montreal stuff, Like
I
some
never
people
heard of
from
this
France too would be on there. Like,
That's wild.
yeah,
I
man.
mean, I knew I was on Facebook since like Abbott days, but
Mm.
like, and then maybe MySpace a little bit. Like, I missed the MySpace, like the really good MySpace days, because like I didn't have a band or nothing. So like,
Mm.
no, I didn't get the internet till I was 17. Like, did you guys have the internet when you were younger?
Yeah. It was like just coming. It was just coming still. Like
Eventually, yeah.
when I was like 6, there's no such thing in my
I was always
house. Like I
outside.
heard of it, but I wasn't allowed to use it, and it was like DSL connection. Like you have
Oh
to
yeah,
like, plug
yeah,
it into
yeah.
the phone
If you use
wire
the internet, you
like,
can't use the phone.
for
Yeah.
like 5 minutes.
We had that, and like, but that was in the living room, so it was like your mom's right there. It's not the same
My mom was
thing.
always like, "Get the fuck out, go outside, go do something."
Same. Yeah, man. Me was all about outdoors for a big
Ran
part,
around
you know?
BMX.
That's why I went out and figured out music too. Like
Facts.
all my friends had CD players, like Walkmans
Facts.
and stuff.
That's a fact. People used to walk around with their CD wallets.
Yeah,
you
cassette
be,
players.
yeah,
I
you
started off
be able
with
to
a
make your
cassette
own
player.
mixes. You just like ready to be playing. You freaking record that shit real quick.
That's a fact. Music used to be like, honestly, like if I'm thinking back to like teenage years and shit, like that is how you would find your clique. It's like, what band do you like? And then
It was
you like
more
that.
social back
Facts.
then.
Yeah.
Now it's like you can walk around with your earbuds. You could be jamming with like anyone, which is cool at the same time because like I'm a strong believer in the beauty of uniqueness. But back in the day, it wasn't exactly like that, man. Like you either like hang out with the people that listen to the same music, or like you got shat on for hanging out with them. They might like you, but they shit on you for whatever the fuck you listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, even to that end, like, I think YouTube changed the game because, like, people no longer possessed music, and all of a sudden everyone had
Shut
anything. And then weirdo songs came. Like, I don't think, if you remember, like, the shoes. That song's hard. That's my favorite. Honestly, I listened to that song unironically for a long time.
I love that song.
Yo.
I used to know it. Like, I know it seems like a weird song to memorize, but like it was worth
What is
it.
that even labeled? Is that like pop, EDM pop? What is that?
I would put that as an EDM pop song. But in their defense, it was like basically like a Saturday Night Live goof song that Americans just ate up. So
so
they
good.
were like, what?
And the visuals help too, you know.
Yeah, it was pretty dope.
Such a good song.
So basically then you said you got into like other bands as time went on.
Yeah.
And
Like-
how does you leave the reggae? How does the reggae band? You said it stops working at a certain point, and then like what comes after that?
After the reggae band, I actually I just thought about that. There's like this band that we called The Tragedy of a Dying Squirrel, and
Did
like
you really call it band that?
yeah, I'm serious. And like yo, our emblem was like a squirrel like this with like a needle. And like it was pretty funny.
That is a different time.
It was really different.
Yo,
And
times
like
were
that was
different.
just like
What
We just-
sound was that?
yo, honestly, it was the weirdest. It was just like sad rock.
That makes sense.
It was just like sad rock. It was funny, but like it was sad, funny rock. You know what I mean? Like
Were you guys like
we put
recording?
jokes in our songs. No, we didn't record barely anything. Like we recorded stuff on our phone, but it sounded like trash. But we did a lot of shows. Like we did what's it called? It was Supernova. It was like this thing, and they brought you around in a bunch of venues, and you didn't have to pay anything for it. You sign up to like ReverbNation, and they
Hold
put you
on.
on the Supernova
Oh,
thing.
brought
You
back
know?
the
Hold on.
ReverbNation.
Yeah.
times.
Did we just
Jesus.
hear of a real value of ReverbNation? Like,
Yeah,
it's
man.
Really a thing.
Yeah,
I've
dude.
never heard. In my whole life, I've never heard of a person say I used a ReverbNation promo and it benefited me.
It actually worked out, man. It was 100% free. I didn't pay for
That's
nothing.
crazy.
I didn't have money to pay for nothing back then.
No disrespect to ReverbNation, it's just I know what they are today.
Nah, I feel you. I don't know where they're at these days, but
If you log into
Mhm.
ReverbNation right now, you'll go to the top 10 of the charts just so that you feel good, and
Yeah.
then you'll get
That's-
solicited pretty much immediately
Oh,
after to
ReverbNation,
do
that's
some
one
shit,
that-
and then
oh
it's
my
gonna
God.
slowly drop you down. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's one of them sites now. Like,
No bueno.
I would love to do an experiment where we all log into ReverbNation at the same time and like share what the chart looks
I think
like.
that would be hilarious.
Because anyway, but I love to ReverbNation. They were the first music platform I hosted music on. It was ReverbNation and SoundCloud when I started.
Yeah, SoundCloud popped up a while after that. Yeah.
That piff.
That piff.
I remember I dropped 2
Yeah.
instrumental mixtapes on there.
That piff.
Those were times when I was around B&G and stuff.
Wait, when did you get into instrumental making? Like, how did that like start? Like, as like an
Probably around when I
actual-
was like 23. I started getting more into music, and I was like still going through some shit, and I met some people. And this guy Metikulus actually showed me
Straight
his
up.
program Reason. You know, he come by me and we worked on a few things. I watched him do his thing, and I started playing with that program. That's when it started. I got really hooked into it. I was like, yo, this is fun. I just be on it for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. So where it became like an obsession,
Yeah.
you know.
That's what it becomes.
So yeah, there's like tons of beats from back in the day. I got like thousands.
So you would just sit there and make beats.
That's what it was. That was my PlayStation. You know, like I love playing video games, but then that became the new video game. Just like I take a small break, maybe play video games for like 45 minutes. I'm like, yo, I got another beat idea. Let me try something. Play on the keys a bit.
And like this is like before YouTube tutorials and all that, or did you have like?
This was before YouTube tutorials. Metik showed me a couple of things, and he's like, just figure it out, feel the program. And I've always been someone who learned that way. I'd get a program, and then I just start plucking around, seeing what goes on there, what happens there. That's how I learned Photoshop. My mom showed me a couple of things because she was a graphic designer. I watched her use that and Illustrator, but I gravitated more to Photoshop, so I started making all my own stuff. You know, I started playing in there, and it was like, yo.
That's what you do.
Yeah, that's what I do. Pass my time, you know.
Yeah.
Kept me out of trouble, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's
when I got into
wild
that
to
stuff,
think
it
of
really
it,
kept me
like,
out of trouble.
I never heard anyone put it like that. Like making beats was like video games. I mean, like I get it. Like his like writing songs is like an entertaining thing, or I wouldn't do it. But like it's never because it's more mechanical, like a video game. When you make a beat, like when you watch all the buttons and there's like a visual stimuli to it, where that's a cool way to put it. And so like, and you were publishing these beats, like you made tapes and shit.
I made 2 tapes. I made more than 2 tapes. I've done a bunch. But I'm trying to remember the name of it. Oh my
You said
God.
2, and I'm like, what?
Oh man, I can't remember the names. I remember the one was Rozwel had a picture of an alien like spaceship doing some stuff.
And where did you drop them on?
On that Piff. They actually did good. I had gotten comments from what's his DJ Screw's son.
Okay.
Yeah, he wanted to remix a couple of my things, but then I stopped using that Piff, and I didn't follow through on that one.
Happens.
It was what it is, you know.
Did anybody ever just like use your beats for songs that they then posted on that Piff?
I have no clue. I've never checked.
Because isn't that like how it would work? In theory, like that Piff would be the place to post the music that you would rip off of other people, if I'm not mistaken.
That's true. It's mixtape style, you know. Like it's very, very mixtape style, like website. That's why I fucked with it a lot.
Yeah,
it was different.
I've come to understand it more now as a really growing up, but back then I did not understand mixtape culture, and I don't think I went on that Piff. I feel like at a certain point, dead ass, I felt like the shit on that Piff was inferior to that of other platforms on some white boy classism shit. Like for real. So inevitably I got into mixtapes and shit and understood it a lot better. But like, was that Piff a good marketing tool then? Like, had you like stuck with it?
Probably, honestly. If I would have had like the funding that I wish I would have had at the time, it could have done a couple of things. Because back then, you know, before they all get like bombarded and saturated, and then it starts losing the real power to the whole thing, and you get weeded out. You can't really, like, unless you drop like racks on racks, be the top all the time, you know. It was a good tool at the time. There's a lot of people who came up to me and were asking me about beats. Oh yeah, you make beats? It's like, yeah. How'd you know? I saw the thing on that Piff. I was like, oh, okay.
You're saying like locally?
Yeah, locally, you know.
And did you ever like start handing out beats in the city?
That was more here and there. I was mostly doing it on doing my own stuff, like rapping over my own stuff.
Right. And when did you start rapping? Because yeah, that's the first.
When I was like
actually,
in
like,
high school, I started writing, and like I was really into like Biggie and Tupac, and I was really into like Tupac's message at the time, you know. I was really into like some rebel shit. And I was just coming out of like my rock phase, because I went through like a up and down phase, you know. It was like fucked with everything.
But is it rebel if you're right?
It's rebel if it's against the norm.
But
then you turn out to be right.
But so it could be rebel and go pop and stop being rebel, but it's rebel as long as its position is against the norm.
That's crazy. That actually answers my question. But sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. There's some crazy thoughts come in my head. Crazy shots.
That's fair. Fuck a pickle.
Yo, pickles sick.
Actually,
no
for real,
pickle.
so you were like
Shut the
listening
pickle.
to like Pac's revolutionary.
Yeah,
message,
and I
got
started
your
writing,
poetry.
and I was able to write a lot. It was very it was poetry time, like, you know, like haikus and stuff like that. Like my style was very different. I never had I was able to dance. I had the courage to dance, but I never had the courage to really rap in front of people. There was one Black History Month where I had the opportunity. And I was like, I wrote something. I got my boy was ready to do something with me, and we all just kind of choked. We're like, nah, things are too hectic at school right now. Last thing we need to do is like, so it didn't work out. You know, I put it down, and then when I was like 22, I really started taking it serious.
So like you're done with school at the time.
Yeah, I was definitely done schools in adult ed actually.
Right.
Cartier trying to finish a few things. So
Shout
like,
out Cartier.
there's a few times I went to a friend's place. You know, we freestyle, make funny ass songs. Like I didn't take it serious. You know, like made songs like Homie Hopper. You know, like just stupid shit. You know.
Deadass, if you made a song called Homie Hopper right now, that shit would fly.
Oh, for sure. It was a remix actually from 50 Cent's track. Oh, what the hell's the song? Window Shopper.
Right.
We remixed that one. Try to be a homie hopper.
Oh, but that's cool though, because like it's still like experience points, right? Like,
Oh, for sure, you know, just fooling around, you know, getting used to being on a mic and recording ourselves, you know, and then I just met people who were serious about it.
like you got linked up with the scene at that point.
Yeah, you know, I started getting in more around people who were seeing, like Metikulus was one big, he's part of RBR at the time, you know, when I first started meeting him, so like.
Right. In case people don't know, that's crazy. RBR came up like twice in the last couple episodes because we had 730 here, who was affiliated with him back in the day as well. It's what, Real Big Records, if I'm not mistaken. And they were one of the bigger waves. Shit, you can't even see my face, this one. It's one of the bigger waves and shit that like came out of the Montreal English hip-hop scene around that, let's say, 06 to like 11 era. I don't know exact times, okay? Like I wasn't around back then. I'm just collecting info, but for real, they produced some like crazy music, and it's stuff that like the people who were around back then play to this day. Like if you get in a car with Basics, there's a 50% chance I'll have some mixtape in the car from that era, from one of these things, and he'll just be bumping that shit because he's really like that.
Straight up.
So that's crazy. So shout out Metikulus too, because he came through a couple times on my show early on and shared a whole lot of knowledge and info, and he's the one who put me on the SoCan. So shout out Metikulus, because like
Facts.
I wouldn't be
SoCan's a vibe.
registered to so. I got my first $1 the other day, and I'm like, let's fucking go.
Straight up. That's what's up.
But so yeah, you linked up with him, and you're getting connected into the world. Are you at some point? Do you show them your music, or is it still like you're just around them?
It was a little bit of A, a little bit of B, you know, like I wasn't taking it fully serious until I really linked up with my boys B&G, which was Smizzy Hurrykane, Richie Payne.
Say a word.
Yeah, man, that's when I really
on the flyer.
oh shit, it's crazy. That's when I started taking it for real. Shout out to them, Nico Bless also, you know, that was a time where I'm like, okay, maybe I could really do this, you know?
Hey, yo, I don't know about the other names, but I can assure y'all, Smizzy Hurrykane is one of these guys who within the last 2 years,
gifted.
I said, what the fuck happened to this guy? Because I remembered his live show, and the 1 or 2 songs I ever heard, because, you know, like, back then it wasn't like, you know what actually happened is a lot of the music from back then gets taken down. Yeah. Artists get embarrassed or something. I don't like my old shit, however it may be.
Also, we were learning how to release stuff, right? We didn't have DistroKid back then. Right? If we would have had DistroKid back then, songs would be still up to this moment.
Facts.
But, like, I know he has some shit from 2016 was the last I found. Because, I looked for him. Because he was, like, fast, like Tech 9 kind of shit.
He was ill with it. He's called the Panamanian Devil, the guy.
And like I've seen him perform like 3-4 times in that like 2012 to 2014 run. So like that's lit. That like you're surrounded by greatness from time.
Yeah, man. Been around a lot, you know, and especially my sister, meeting my sister and my sister doing her things and accomplishing things, you know, going to the States multiple times, like LA, Vegas, you know, like blessings on blessings, you know. I got other family too who do their thing, you know. My aunt, very talented reggae artist. She does reggae music mostly for children and stuff now, and goes to schools and help push that message. Yeah, she has like albums and stuff. It's like I don't know.
Nah, I mean,
What's for you?
Oh, I ain't doing that again. I'll do one that
Oh no.
you.
Jesse,
Alright.
just keep that way. All right, you got that. Yeah, it's fine. You can't
Just
force
try
the
to do a
pickle
normal
back
shot.
on everyone. He's like,
I'm gonna save it in case we change our mind. Maybe Holden wants.
No, I
Maybe
do
Holden
not.
wants.
You
to.
can do it.
listen, at this point, the only way that I'm gonna end up with drinking or eating
much money?
pickles,
How much money?
we're talking. I think I can get 5 figures at some point for this, so we're gonna really hold off on some
Oh,
real
man.
shit. Because at
It's gonna
some
happen.
point, because here's the
Facts.
thing, I'll tell you,
Facts.
I thought about this for years. Well, not years, but for a while. So like the main plan is gonna be something along the lines of if we sell X amount of this or that's, and that number is gonna net me X amount of money, I'll drink a fucking jar of pickle juice. Or some bullshit like that. And if it's done right, enough marketing on the
Cheers.
shit.
That here's what's gonna happen. Cheers to success, like we
Facts.
said.
Just play the storyline right, build it up properly, like wrestling and shit. And it might take me like a year or two of anticipation, but these moments are gonna keep happening. I'm gonna continually refuse pickles forever. Like at this point, it's like fiscally advantageous for me to not consume pickle content.
Facts.
It's
You
just-
got a fucking point.
and so at that point, because you know
Unless
what?
we trick him and he doesn't know.
No,
I
bro.
was thinking that the other day. I
'Cause
was
here's
like,
what happened,
what
like-
if I'm like, we're all taking this green like melon ball shot, right? You heard of the melon ball?
Oh
And,
shit.
like he just takes it.
Dude, now I'm gonna,
Are you gonna spit it out like all over the floor?
bro, I
How's
don't know
he
how
gonna
I'd react
know?
to it. I
What
could
if you
just-
like it?
I don't know. I can't say I can't say 100% that I would hate a weird alcohol pickle drink. I can't say 100%. That's in a different spectrum. I can say that I ate a chicken burger the other day and I forgot that people put pickles on chicken burgers because to me that's insanity. I found out nobody agrees with me. Fine. And I bit into this shit. I was
Oh,
remember it was
shit.
on the bus to New York. And I bit into this fucking, and it just tasted the pickle, and it was exactly like my pickle chip song. Everything lived out. I took the pickles off. I couldn't get rid of the flavor of pickle. I couldn't finish the fucking burger, and I just put it down, and I gave up because it just
Oh,
tasted like
shit.
fucking pickles and shit. So like, I know I don't like pickles. Like, you can't avoid pickles. You have to be on point saying no pickles to shit, or they just show up in your life, and you forget here and there. It's like you get caught slipping.
Facts.
Okay, and I do when it comes to pickles, and that's how I know I don't like them.
That's crazy.
Respect to that.
Yo, you know
What's
something?
the?
You know something funny? I was just thinking, Smizzy Hurrykane. Sorry, my ADHD is crazy.
It's good.
Smizzy Hurrykane was the reason I got back into freestyling.
Yo, tell me about that, cause shout out Smizzy Hurrykane. Hopefully he watches this one day, cause I think he a fire
Facts.
MC.
He's crazy.
Facts.
He's crazy. So
Great.
I went to this ILS school, C.R.E.A.M. where
Fucking
like
C.R.E.A.M.
I left high school my 15. I didn't finish my Sec 4, Sec 5. I have it now. I'm doing DEP. We all good. Everything at its own time.
Oh, but shout out
Right?
Cartier.
Facts.
Both my parents went to Cartier when I was a teenager.
Shout out Cartier, but
And
also
I
fuck
think my
Cartier.
brother ended up going to Cartier too.
C.R.E.A.M.
I might be wrong, but I think. I mean, like, legitimately though, like the fact that there are adult ed services
Yeah.
and that they do help people.
Exactly. That's why I say like,
It's like-
shout out Cartier.
I
I'm
can
not
Fuck
mad
appreciate
at
that.
that kind of shit. I mean, I can imagine going to Cartier's trash, but like, I've seen the booklet.
That's it.
and
No,
how
I
they
mean,
structure
it's
it, and
just,
it's
it's
like,
just
it's what it is.
Well,
some people aren't as informed as they say they are, and you go and do one thing, and then you go to apply for something, and then they tell you, well, you actually don't have the requirements, and you go back like, yeah, you do. It's like, what the? Okay, you know what?
that shit was confusing. I went through the same shit.
Like, what do you mean? I'm not actually.
Well,
They had-
I went back personally to learn how to become a welder, and I had to go get a couple of classes and things done, and get my whatever paperwork they wanted.
Hold on, they do like welding and like career.
No. But you go there to get the prerequisites to go to the school.
Right.
You
Okay.
need
That
certain
offers
credits. You need certain credits,
Right.
and that's where you get them.
So I went, I finished what I needed to finish, and then I went to go apply at the school that offers welding. And they literally sat there and said, I don't know why you're here. You're way off. Like, government changed their stuff like a year ago.
That's some trash.
Right? And at
Yeah.
that point, that's like, you hear it in my music too a lot of times. I was like, fuck the system. I was on some My older stuff before I linked back up with him was very, very, very rebellious stuff.
No, but that's like an interesting point, right? Because like you're trying to do the right thing,
Mm-hmm.
and you're doing it all, and then on some bureaucratic technicality, you get fucked.
Yep.
And it's not like you had prior knowledge to this. There's no way you could have known this.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you're sitting there going like, okay, so now the plan of getting loans and bursaries and, doing this and this, now that's down the drain. Now I got to find a job.
You gotta find
like,
something new.
I've been off work for too long, like.
And it be like that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
honestly,
life does set you on a path, though.
that's a fact. Like, my university situation
Makes
was
you
pretty
stronger.
trash. I had to move out because my home situation wasn't good.
Mm.
And the government said, oh, you don't need to move out. We're not giving you nothing. Your mom can afford it. So my mom files papers because she lost her job, and so she couldn't afford her contributions. And this is the first time pickles were eaten on an interview.
No, pickle.
I'm okay right now.
That's
Maybe
like-
after.
Yo, this is not good. But, like, I don't actually buy that people eat pickles. Like, Bonnie be eating pickles even more than ever because of this whole campaign.
This is actually a good pickle. Like,
What's the company?
this is just great value.
Yeah,
I went
so,
on Walmart
like,
for that.
my mom, like,
This is better than the one I got from Metro.
my mom did, like, some paperwork to, like, tell them she had no money, and the government's like, okay. And then just said she owed nothing, but I got no more money. So it was like, well, now I got to go work. And,
Yep.
it just was like, damn, eh? Just because, like,
Life throw you curveballs.
and it's like some weird bureaucratic bullshit. I went down, appealed, nothing. There's no solution. Sometimes you're just like, too bad, so sad, go fuck yourself. Other people are worse. You shouldn't be crying kind of vibes. I don't know what it is today, but the internet was not what it is today back then.
No,
so
it's
like
not.
all the resources and the go look it ups and the TikToks telling you how to get none of that existed in like fucking 08.
Fact.
Right.
So like you were just kind of stuck calling phones and hoping that the right academic person or this or that could get you to the right thing, and literally physically going places for meetings at inconvenient times, all that shit.
I think that's why. That's why I dropped out of adult ed and started rapping.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, for real though, like that's literally what happened with Smizzy. Okay, like I'm not
like
trying to
how he
snitch
had
him
to
out or
be
nothing,
eating the
but he
pickle.
skipped all his classes, bro. He skipped all his classes, and like there's a method behind every greatness, right?
Right.
Like I'm not saying everyone has the same method, but there's a method behind every greatness, and I saw Smizzy where he came from at that point. I think he knew him earlier than I did, but when I met him in C.R.E.A.M, there was no class for this guy. He might have went to one class a day maybe, and the rest of the day, like I mean the rest of the day, the rest of the school day, like I'm talking from 9 to 3, he maybe went for like an hour and a half, like your first class, or like 45 minutes, depends on what class you have and like what teachers you have. Some of them were 45 minutes, some of them were an hour and a half, but he went to one of those. And the rest of the day, till 3 o'clock, he was at this park, this Centennial Park, freestyling. The whole fucking time. There's like a gang of like 10 of us. And just freestyling. I was honored. He invited me into this group. So like, we went and I freestyled with them. And like, for the first time in my life, nobody was going like, you can't do that. They're like, yo, keep doing that. That's sick, like... That was encouragement for me because, like, I realized my potential at that point. I think that's a point in my life where I decided to stop being stepped on.
Say that again.
I think that's the point in my life where I decided to stop being stepped on.
Okay. Like,
I was a people pleaser, like, as a child.
okay.
I always wanted to, and sometimes in the wrong ways. Like, you ask anybody, including my adoptive parents, my real parents, or whatever. You ask anybody, including my parents, like, was this kid like real? I was like stupid real. I would like do something fucked up, like really fucked up, and be like, yeah, I did it, and I'm proud. You know what I mean? Like, but like fucked up shit like that. The reason being was my perception of people pleasing was more than like telling someone what they wanted to hear. It was like I understood, because I guess like the whole like, that's where some cool shit might have come into play, like the pastorism and stuff from my dad. Like it taught me that like one thing is like people just want to know the truth.
That's a fact.
Like I don't care who you are out there.
Sometimes.
Like mostly don't. Yeah. Sometimes.
Sometimes
Well,
it's
when we
scared
say,
of
like,
it.
people, we don't mean individuals. We mean people.
As a general,
And I think
Like,
people, as a general,
they wanna
almost
know the
always
truth.
want to know the truth.
Fact.
And
Yeah.
people in general are far more forgiving of. Cause nobody believes that you're capable of accountability and redemption, or like moving forward, if you're not able to be truthful about the things that you've
Facts.
done. So that's why people care about the truth. If you can admit it and own it,
facts.
then at the very least, you can do something about it.
100%. But that played into my people pleasing. You know what I mean? So like, I would be like this and this and that, and then I'd be truthful about it because I know that's what people want. But then they'd be like disappointed, and I'd be like, shit. So instead of like, I wouldn't go about lying about shit. I just try and change myself, which I realize is completely the wrong method. You know what I mean? But when that hit me, that was a point in my life where it actually hit me, and he stepped back into my life at that point too, because like actually we were so there's like two instances, right? There was, or was it? No, it wasn't at the same time. C.R.E.A.M and the apartment wasn't at the same time. So there's the apartment, there's C.R.E.A.M, and then there's like, later on down the road. There's like three instances where we re-met.
An apartment.
Yeah. So like, was it Connor?
I think so.
It was Connor. I believe I met you through.
Yeah.
And so there's this one guy. I don't know what to say. Rest in peace, or what the fuck I want to say about this guy. I really wish the best for him. And like, I love that guy with the bottom of my heart, but like we went through some shit. I'm just gonna say
Fair
that
enough.
much. And like I realized at some point in my life that you can't just dig back into the dirty ink and pull people out. Sometimes they have to do it themselves. You know, you can tell them how to do
Yeah,
it.
man, you can't fight their battles for them. Man.
You can tell them how to do it, but you ain't gonna sink in there. You're not gonna sink in there.
No, that's an point. It's an important point.
You can't drown two. You know what I mean? There's already someone drowning. Like you throw them a buoy. If they don't want to grab on the buoy, they're drowning. You know what I mean? Like, unless you can swim that hard, and to swim that hard, you gotta have a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of patience.
Even then, you'll still be disappointed at the end, because what you're saying is a fact. Like,
You might pull them out and then jump right back in.
or the second you turn around, the second you're not there.
Yeah.
Like, I've had moments where it's like that. Like, okay, so fine, as long as you are the focus of my devotion, so to speak, you'll behave. And the second I'm gone, it's almost like you'll act out to get it. It's not sustainable shit.
No, it's
And
not.
it's not healthy to do. So it's like,
Absolutely not.
nah. So basically, I don't know.
Yeah.
Basically,
Fuck. There's
not
no
letting
bueno.
people step on you is a good move, but more
That's a
important.
crazy move.
No.
Crazy, and that made me realize it right then and there. But he was part of that as well. You were crazy and crazy.
Sorry, you can't. It's just
At a
also
very
like,
young age.
it's also like the idea of not saving a hoe. I know it's like a thing, but you can't.
It's true.
You can't.
It's fucking true, though.
I had to I don't actually do shots on a lot of interviews, so I'm like, okay, wait, my reflexes are a little slow. But
That's okay. We got you on the smoking vibe right now. This is what we do.
we killing it. This is the show, though. I know this is the show. It's all over.
Straight up.
HSR, bro. Yo, shout out to HSR. Yo, HSR 514, motherfuckers.
Yeah, appreciate that.
All day, every day.
I promise, though, the people that be watching this, for the most part, do know how to find me.
Well, good, because like, you know what I'm saying? But like, for the people that like
Stay.
are coming in, because I shared this obviously
Facts.
all over my Snapchat.
Hit that subscribe button.
Instagram,
Hit that
Facebook.
like button. Feel patreon.com/behind that suit if you're feeling generous.
Yes, sir.
No, but I think it's important to recognize in your life that there are going to be people that you quote unquote can't save. Like, over the course of my evolution, I've had numerous culling periods, as you can call them, where most of my friends are new friends. I know that like it's super popular to be
Actually,
like,
we have no friends.
fuck, like
we have no friends.
Like Chris Chrome, I've been
bad.
around for like
It's
9
bad, bro.
years. Don't get me wrong, and I have a couple other people that been around since time. But even them, my longest friend is somebody I met when I was 17. I don't even have friends from before 17 years old in my life.
I feel you on that, man.
Yeah,
We have family.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just kind of how it would be. But so basically, you're at that point, and you start freestyling in the C.R.E.A.M or the park near C.R.E.A.M, I assume.
Yeah, it's
So
part
I live
of
This
in
is down the road.
Beaconsfield. This is C.R.E.A.M
This is
in
Beaconsfield, man.
Yo, it's crazy. I dated a girl when I was 17. That like, so I was basically, while you guys were doing this, I was smashing this chick that lived in one of them houses on the waterfront. We dated for like 3 years.
You weren't that far off.
It was like we dated for like 3 years, but I drove by that place all the time.
Mhm.
Like it was like constantly driving by car
Daily,
chain. That's
eh?
right next to Beaconsfield High School tour, like right
sir.
by it.
Yeah.
That's where I went to high school.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, I got expelled.
Fair.
Yeah.
Where'd you go to high school?
Me, I went to Lindsay place.
Say word.
I almost
Yeah.
went there after getting expelled. I've been fucked up.
I got expelled from there too.
That's
Because of the situation.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Situations do take place.
Situations get us expelled.
Don't say the N word if you don't want to piss me off.
So yeah, so you're freestyling with Smizzy Hurrykane. He basically the squad there gives you the courage and confidence to pursue it. Then you reconnect with him at some guy's apartment who you had to let go
So we
due
had
to
actually-
life issues.
We'd actually connected
If I'm not
before that.
mistaken.
This apartment whole thing, like when I first moved to Montreal and I moved out, I was working at St. Hubert's, right?
Mm.
A family chicken restaurant, you know?
Right.
Bloop, bloop, bloop. And I get this apartment. This guy that works there, he like co-signed it and everything. And eventually, I got like Connor coming over and everything. Connor introduces me to Sean,
Yeah.
and yo, we clicked right away. Now everybody else in the group eventually fucking came and gone, but we clicked right away. Like I believe there's reasons for that. Like most obviously, like, we have a lot of the same moral values. We have a lot of the same, just like visions.
Mm.
Right.
Obviously, everybody has different things they think about everything, but like we make that work. You know what I mean? Like some people just can't make that work. And
Ah, everybody's.
I
all
seen
way
that.
down.
It felt like harmony from the get go, you know. It's like even if there's arguments, it's like quick things. It's like, okay, yeah, but that doesn't make sense because of that. Yeah, but it makes sense like that. Okay, true. You know what I mean?
But, like it's like, yo, honestly, these musical journeys we go on with each other are very much like dating.
Mm.
As much as people don't want to like, I know, pause and all that shit, but like it really is like that.
Always.
And people are compatible with who the fuck they are compatible with.
Yeah.
And
That's true.
like for whatever reason, Chris Crumb puts up with my shit. I'll be real.
Yeah. He puts up with mine, so.
And like certain people just like tolerate my bullshit, and if they for whatever reason feel that my bullshit is worth whatever benefit I give to their life, we tend to get along really well.
Yeah.
And if my bullshit is too much, we tend to not get along as well. And then sometimes you have those turbulent moments where you have to butt heads and all that shit. Like sometimes me and Mr. Scandals in the crowd may have to like you figure out how to like.
But that's the thing. That's the difference between being a team that could be successful and a team that can't be successful. If you can get through those bad times and just get through them, because it's not the end of the world.
It's not.
Unless it's like a
Really
line
not the end of the
cross, you
world.
know, like which doesn't happen. So it's like
I don't know.
everything's fixable. There's always a solution to every problem, you know.
Also, I feel like a lot of times when you butt heads, as annoying as it can be, often the end result is everybody's greater for it.
Yeah.
Even if
I
it can
feel
be
that.
annoying.
Yeah, because
There's
we're all
usually
unique.
a stronger
Right?
outcome to a broken question. You know what I mean? Like when there's a broken question in life, the outcome's always stronger. I was given this example once by a teacher, and it says, "You break a mug, right? Glass, ceramic, whatever.
I've done that a few times in
Right?
last year.
It shatters to pieces. If you can recollect every piece, if you can recollect every piece, and you put it together with this method they have for putting back, it's 10 times stronger than the original product.
Say a word. Why?
The molding.
Mm.
The molding process, the remolding process, the glue is stronger than the actual cement, like ceramic and glass. And like when you see like those in like the cathedrals, right? All the Shoutout glass put together.
And that
Yeah,
stained
different
glass.
colors
Colors of
like
glass,
that.
stained glass and
Yeah,
stuff.
man.
Some of them is just Shoutout glass put together. And that glass is stronger than a regular glass.
I did not know any of that.
because the molding in between makes it like 10 times stronger than what it originally was.
So to bring that back, that's the metaphor for the conflicts within a group, leading
100%.
to stronger forges and shit, which I believe in. Like, because the fact is, like, I'm personally pretty stubborn, but I'm also stubborn about the loyalty angle of it too. So I'm not about to like be stupid over a moment or two. I might be petty, but I'm not gonna be too stupid about it.
Straight up.
Yeah, loyalty is a big thing.
I think it matters. I think like if
It
you
doesn't just matter. It's absent in like the mediocre like,
Key.
mainstream world right now.
I think it's coming together again.
I hope so.
No, I mean if you just have to look at, you just have to look at Gen Z. You have to look at the evolution of things. Like if you look, I like music marketing as like a passion project because it's so interesting, the stories of it. But like groups like Brockhampton or a lot of these collectives are really what is thriving. Like look, Odd Future Gang and all them, right? Like since like the entire time I've been involved in music, it's always been collectives and labels that have actually dominated the indie scene.
That is true.
Yes, they might be built around a main guy, and that's usually where I think a lot of groups have a lot of trouble accepting whether or not they're the main guy or girl, which there can only be one. So
Sometimes. That's the thing.
Surprised.
It depends on the structure of the team, right?
Yeah.
But like somebody, fair enough. Like I'm not gonna go that, but like not everyone's gonna be the stars of a group.
No.
And that's just the reality of the situation. And I don't want to like look at the way Wu-Tang is structured. Like if you watch that American Saga show, unfortunately, even if it was frustrating, you got Inspector Deck. They had to kind of wait for their turn to shine. And that's where I think a lot of situations have problems, but I also don't think we have a lot of training for how to work together, and it's a lot of things that we're learning. When you look at them kids, they do have those skills because of honestly TikTok and all that shit. It gives them really useful tips.
I'm 7:30 on TikTok, bro.
TikTok's a lot of what you look up on it. So like if you're looking for good shit, you're gonna find it, and if you're looking for bad shit,
But
you're
here's
gonna
my
find
problem
it.
is peer influence. I'm only saying this out of the perspective of I have a kid who's going through it right now.
It's true, because you can't stop, like, you can stop your kid from searching something, but you can't stop their friends from showing them and searching something. You know, like,
That's the fact.
it's like, think about how we found out about, like, Morpheus and LimeWire. Like, I learned that through a homie.
Like I remember that, like I wasn't allowed to play video games. I still figured, well, certain video games. Like you think Grand Theft Auto was a no?
Straight up, right?
I figured it out.
Exactly.
So to me, it's like this shit's all gonna happen. But the flip side of it is she's probably gonna encounter a lot of like, here's how to be a strong woman shit that she never would have encountered except for TikTok. And she'll be able to find other kinds of role models where I don't think kids are entirely caught up on the bad ones. I think they're smart enough to have a lot of role models and shit.
That
Maybe
is
not
true about
12-year-olds,
different.
but they'll get
I
it.
feel like the saturation is really bad right now.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way. Like, as much as I'm a guy, first of all, so I'm not a woman role model. But you know what I mean? Like, but as a dad, it's rough. Like, dude, I came from a life where, like, not the same kind of gang stuff, but different kind of weird stuff. Call it a collective if you want.
Shit.
Call it a collective if you want. A criminal collective is pretty much what I had a part of. Like, I didn't join the gang families. I knew about it because I had beefs with some of them, and like, you learn a lot about your beefs. You study your opponents. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I learned a lot about that, but he lived it. I think that makes us. That's something else that we're able to relate on. But coming from that and having a child, and I'm speaking for myself. I don't know how it is for you, but for me, like, we never talked about this before. This is deep. But like, for me, like, it was fucked up. Because I had to, like, switch my mind from something that I don't want my daughter to be a part of. Ever. Ever. And I had to change aspects of my life. Even my music. Like, my music reflected a lot on that. And, like, we had a whole thing, and this we've talked about, that we want people to understand where we came from, where we're going, and where we end up.
Right.
And that's the thing in our music. And this is a little. If you
It's
don't
the
see
growth,
this interview,
right?
you'll never know about this until you hear the music. So you want some shit if you hear this right now, because I'm gonna let out like just a little boop, and that's it. Because I haven't talked about this after, but we have a plan. We're gonna let them know what we were, where we are, and where we're going, and where we end up.
But that,
You got like these 4 stages. You know what I'm saying?
But to be fair, like, that's what you should do.
I
Like,
feel it, but my daughter listens to my music.
Mm-hmm. So that's what you
His
gotta watch
son
what you
listens to his
say.
music.
how old's your son? I know your daughter. I met your daughter.
He's 12.
So like they're almost the same age.
Yeah, she's 11.
Yeah.
That's why.
So I'm seeing it. Like I've had to have the conversation with my kid where he's listening to people like that do drill music that are from the States, and I'm sitting there going like, really, dude? Like,
Facts.
you don't live that life, you know? And I'm hearing them talk, oh yeah, I got ops. I got ops, and you listen to a little kid talk like that, you're like, shit.
like you say, your son's walking around using the lingo.
Yeah, you know, I'm very familiar with the lingo, and it's just like, I get it, like, that he knows my past, people know my past.
Our kids are smart.
Yeah, you know, it's an
They
eye
know.
opener.
They know without us telling at some point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
It's something to be aware of. I'm gonna say that. Like as an artist who's come from like a dark past, you gotta be aware. And, like I wasn't as aware as I wish I could have been. But you know what? I don't regret my past. I don't regret anything in my life
That's
at this
what made
point.
me who I am today, man. Fuck that.
I live.
You should.
I don't.
Like, I mean, you are. Sometimes people have to go through some dark shit so that they can end up being the light that shines bright later on.
Facts.
Like,
Yep.
like I know people paint Jesus like a saint, and I don't mean this in a sacrilegious way, but the man hung out with hookers and shit. Like, he was clearly in the trenches. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if Jesus smoked blunts with hoes dead ass just to be able to be in the spot with the
For
people.
sure.
And so,
The
like,
Bible describes that.
so like if you're really like trying to connect, especially with, you know what I notice a lack of is people our age trying to connect with the like 20-year-olds. And the only way that could happen is usually you've been through some shit, so you can connect with the people who are going through some shit. So I know it sounds like weird, but
No, it's supposed to be mentors for them, right? It's supposed to be a
people
positive.
deal with shit to help
Yeah.
the people dealing with shit.
It's true, but it's hard. And I feel like a lot of people growing up in our generation walk away from hard stuff. I'm not saying everybody. I'm not saying everybody. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, in this room, I feel that presence where, like, we were willing to go through that. But there's a lot of people I know, they just, you know, I'm going to focus on. I'm not hating because it's still a smart move, but at the same time, like, that next generation is going to take care of this world when we're dying. You know what I mean? Like, so for me, it's super important. Not just having kids and teaching them the shit, but, like, I knew a couple of 20-year-olds and a couple of 22-year-olds and shit, like 10 years younger than me, and like when I get the chance, I play that teacher role, I play that mentor role, because it's not a thing of like, oh, I know this, I know that. It's really not. It's the complete opposite. It's like, I want you to know this and know that.
Also,
There's a big difference between
like, I want to know what they're going through.
Facts.
100%.
Because, yo, like,
You learn from them as well.
some of the most insightful interviews I've done are when I talk to the little ones.
Yeah.
Like, I remember talking to, like, this 17-year-old, and it just, because, yo, how often do you talk to 17-year-olds? Like
Right.
that?
Yeah.
And his experience is so different than mine.
Absolutely.
It's true though. That's what really made me realize some shit. You know, I sit there and I catch myself saying things to my kid that my parents said to me, and I'm like, I get it. Now I get it. Now I get it. We're living two different eras. You know, so I try to relate with my kid a lot more, but I definitely see the difference.
I mean, you gotta understand, like, to the people watching, if you're not like these kids all have like 8 years of digital marketing experience by the time they start their job.
Facts. They're already
It's
talking
nuts.
like YouTubers.
It's nuts.
They're already
Yeah.
talking like YouTubers, man. I watched his daughter do some really like
His
makeup
daughter
tutorials.
can
I'm like,
dance
what the
better than
fuck?
all of us. Like, I just watched it. She goofed on me, bro. Like, she came at me. She was like, "Oh, you think you can dance? Watch me show you what the fuck this is." And there is nothing harsher than a young lady putting you in your place. She would look you. She'll look me dead ass in the eye.
Oh yeah, no fear,
Let me
man.
know.
No
She
fear,
can do that.
man.
And I'm like,
That's
what do you
her.
expect?
That's
I'm
her.
like,
But see, that's the thing. We teach our
30-something
kids to not be afraid, man. That's one thing I really dig in my kid's head is like any dream is possible as long as you don't give up on it. Like if you're gonna do it, do it. Like don't go like, oh, I'm gonna do this for like a year or two, then maybe drop out. Nah, bro. If you're gonna do this, let's go all the way.
Go through.
Like can't stop, no matter what the hurdles put in your way, and no matter what mood you're in. You know, it's gotta like break through it. And that's what we really try to talk about in our music here and there. You know, like it's a mix of our past and also a bit of like, yo, you can get out of the dark. Because like we've seen shit.
Yeah.
And I feel that. So it's basically you guys are like young adults, and then you're in the circle, and then you said something about you were in another band, and you were managing this band.
Yeah, that's when we
That was
reconnected.
crazy.
2017.
That was the third reconnection.
I got hit by flooding.
Smizzy Hurrykane thing is the second reconnection.
Yes.
And then you guys separate again.
Yeah, basically we started seeing each other. I really dug into the whole B&G thing. We joined up with this thing called Rich Scholars, then got signed to a label called Mars Records.
So you got signed, and we're doing a whole thing.
Yeah.
In the meantime,
Well, we'll let him tell us about getting signed, and then we'll go to the meantime.
It was different. I'm
What-
very
what-
grateful
how
for
did you
the
get signed?
opportunity.
How did that even come to be?
It was like a 360 deal, basically, where like the guy would pay for our beats. He hooked each and every one of us up with an album, paid for recording time, had somebody come in and film, do videos for us. It was getting to a big, it was starting to roll, but he bit too much, too quick, you know, like he took on too many people, and things started clashing, and it just crumbled. You
This
know?
was like local?
Yeah, this was out here in Montreal. It's called Mars Records.
Right. So the guy signed about too many of y'all, and
Yeah, it started off with like just the B&G collective. You know, I think there was about 7 of us at that time, and then it ended up being like 13 of us, and
I can imagine how having 13 rappers and then
yeah, and then
everyone
booking a
wants their
7-hour
shit.
studio session and having all these artists come through to record their stuff, and you're like, wait, so how long do I have? 20 minutes to record? What, bro? I have a 13 to 15 track album you want from me. How am I supposed to get this done?
So it's basically, and this is not meant to be shitty. It's meant to be like a learning point. It was
Yeah, it's
bad
definitely a
project management
big,
that kept that
big-
shit. Because in theory, that could have been scheduled in a way where you had an hour and then only
Exactly,
you guys show up
right?
This day.
Exactly. It was a good time at the same time. I had a lot of blessings there. You know, I have videos that haven't dropped. I have little things that I wish I could have dropped but didn't let to do.
So but you learned a lot about how music's supposed to be made.
Exactly. You know, I did learn about the backgrounds and how it really works in the label, the cuts that people make music wise, and the whole like SoCan registering yourself, you know, and everything that has to do with actually being part of a label. Well, part of a label, like I said, this guy was an amateur just trying to do his thing. Bless him for trying to help, but it is what it is. And then I started doing my own thing independently.
There's a lesson in that stills, right? Because I know a lot of people who encounter situations like that. And, like, even to that end, like, my homeboy, Sean, King Canada, Bring the Bars, effectively created one of those. And he was super transparent with everyone. And he managed to make everything free. So, like, he's able to hook people up with beats and mixing because he managed to make all that free. So, like, there's not all of his capital run. And then he just takes his cuts out the mastering and, like, pulled it off. But done right, it's actually like a cool thing to have those people take that spot. Done wrong, it's a high risk maneuver where I imagine you're locked into a situation where you're creating all this music and it doesn't come out for XYZ reason.
Exactly, and then when it crumbles, you're like, frick, I had a whole album, well, almost a whole album finished there. 2 videos, 3 videos were filmed. All it gets taken down. You're like, okay, so here I go starting from scratch again. And that's when I got fed up.
And that's when you were like going by Flip?
Flicks.
Flicks, my bad.
Yeah, Flicks. Flicks the Phoenix for the longer term.
How did you get that name?
It was mostly because
Life's like a movie.
Life's like a movie, Flicks, and because of my dancing style. When I got into crumping, I had very fast movements, and my sister and a couple people was just like, yo, you're doing like flicks. And your life is like a movie. Why don't you just call yourself Flicks? I'm like, oh, yeah. And then I look like my father, so I went with the whole Phoenix, the rebirth from the ashes, you know, second chance. And then I got on that, where I started filming myself, having my cousin help out, Shoutout YB. He'd film me sometimes, and I'd edit everything. make my own beats, jump on all that shit. And then I got hit by the flooding in 2017.
So, hold on. So you were like spending the mid 2010s literally doing the indie DIY. So you're like Russ.
Basically.
You're pushing it like that. And were you
Basically.
performing during that period?
Here and there. I wasn't really connected to too many people to get on shows, but I got on a couple of times here and there. Dizzle D threw me on some stuff. DJ Shack Attack. There's a few people who helped out till I met everybody else and got onto bigger bills.
Right.
But then, yeah, I got hit by the flooding. That was crazy.
So you're in Purify?
I was in Il Bazaar.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I was like right by the water. My parents were probably like, so I was back home for a bit trying to get my shit together. My parents lived like 9 houses down from the shore.
Right.
So like water was coming up. Oh yeah, military. I remember actually I had gone to Toronto right before it got to its worst. We left to Toronto to go do the Cut Connect, where I had my first booth with TMS and stuff. What I was doing there, I was doing a bunch of stuff.
I don't know what the
Filming.
Cut Connect is.
Cut Connect was some conference, music conference. They had Shock Lair opening at that time, so I had a booth where I was basically showcasing the interviews, the beat production, music, and all that we
You did
performed.
interviews as well.
Yeah, I used to do this thing called Hungry.
Alright, so
Yo,
you
that-
gotta run that back. Cause like,
Yeah.
You're one of them dudes where you're like an onion. You gotta like.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's
Find
like
us, like,
I've mixed and mingled with a lot since 2004.
So when did you start the interviews? How did that come out?
The first time I ever wanted to do interviews was back in like 04, 05. I started like going around the neighborhood and filming guys freestyle, b-boys, street racing.
You were like doing like the street.
Yeah. And I had
Got
a
real
handheld,
shit.
I had like handheld camera, and I'd throw it into Movie Maker and do these ghetto ass edits, you know, like people doing burnouts and street racing with
Have any
dancing.
of that?
Somewhere.
Somewhere
I'm
on a
telling you,
file
that's some
and a
Patreon
computer.
money to be made, my
Straight up though. I had my
the
homeboy in
OG
the
times.
Victoria beating a Mustang because the guy blew his clutch.
You were like really like
I was really trying to do it.
Diamonds or any of these dudes that were like walking around, even Vlad, I guess.
Yeah.
Back in the day, Blaze Battle, all these dudes were like.
Yeah, man, I was really Smack DVD was the shit. Like that was
should
my
be
shit. I
gold,
really
you know,
fucked
now.
with that. So when I got back into it all, I'm like, yo, I really want to put on for the
Were
city.
other people doing this? Cause like I haven't heard anybody tell me that they was.
I don't think to what I was trying to do.
You would be in a
He was on a
adrenaline.
different level.
Yeah. Like
He's always been on a different level.
it was like a lot of like street dancing, you know, like it was different, you know, and I put that aside for a bit because I'm like, yo, to do this for real, I need the gear, and I don't got the gear. I'm from working from the bottom up, you know.
I hear that.
And then I got into the whole hungry thing where I'm like, yo, I gotta put on for the city. I've been doing so much stuff where I'm like, me. Let me
So this is
just,
like you jump ahead 10 years.
yeah, it's jumping ahead 10 years before I
It
link
was a
back
lot
up with
more
him,
Affordable.
right? And I got my taxes and I bought a Canon camera.
That's a good. Yo, people take some advice. It's
That's
tax
an
season right
investment.
now.
Yeah,
Like, you
so
get your
screw it.
tax money right now. If you don't have kids that are gonna eat up that check, invest that shit.
Facts.
If you have kids, I don't know what to tell
You
you.
still gotta invest.
Facts. You need
But I'm not in a. I
You gotta
don't-
show your kids that investment is fucking
Exactly.
price worthy.
listen to a
Exactly.
parrot.
I still have
'cause
that
I'm
same
not
camera.
a parrot.
You know,
still
like
have
you gotta
that
make
same
sure your kids are fed, but at the same time, if your kids can't grow up and be like, "Yo, my dad invested in this, and you know he believed in this and this and this and that," and it turned out to be what more than he wanted to be,
Yeah.
then what are they looking at? My dad didn't invest in my future because he didn't invest in himself. My dad didn't invest in my knowledge because he didn't invest in his own. My dad didn't invest in his character because he was too afraid of what would happen.
Facts.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
I
take
mean,
part of that check and do something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I bought a Canon, and then I started Canon camera. Sorry, started doing a little bit of photography, and then started filming videos. But like again, I was still limited. But I'm like, oh, I could do interviews, so I did a couple of interviews. I think like 21 or 23 episodes.
Who'd you interview? Do you remember?
I definitely remember I did CY, Cody Bosch, Sean James, Mines, it's a French rapper, Travis Bryant.
Shout out Travis Bryant.
Who else, man? Oh my God.
See you if you're watching.
It's been a while since I looked back all these. I did Peter Jackson at the Cut Connect. He actually was there. Shout out to that guy. That guy's a hard-working motherfucker. Jesus. A whole bunch of people, man. No, so...
to YouTube?
Yeah. I posted YouTube and Facebook. They're actually still up on Facebook. You can go check out the page TMS. That's the Movement Squad.
That's hard. That's actually a treasure trove of some shit that nobody knows about.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of
Some
stuff
shit
on
we
there.
Go watch
man.
on stream one day.
There's even some like street racing stuff there. I filmed JDM Fest one time. That was fun. I love that stuff, man.
Do you think music festivals, because as an example, like the Canadian Music Festival thingy is happening very soon as an example. Do you think these types of things are worth going to? And if you do go to it, like, what are you supposed to be trying to get out of it?
I think it is worth it. Festivals always seem to be a vibe if they're set up properly. If they have proper vendors, things going on, and proper security. I mean,
these are more like networking festivals, not like regular people pulling up for a concert festival.
Networking festivals, so like, yeah, because I went to the Cut Connect and that was an eye opener. You know, a bunch of people, different things, different companies. You know, like that all relate to the industry.
Right.
So you get a lot of cards, and you're like, okay, so I can do this and do this now that I couldn't have done before. If I didn't come here and do this thing, I wouldn't have known that existed. You know.
So it's really just about like getting exposed to stuff beyond what you currently
learning
know,
more tools because
in terms of how the real industry works.
Exactly, because there's always something to learn, bro. Like there's things that we're learning about right now that if they work, it's like eye openers. It's like, okay, it's really like this, okay, but it's like gotta learn how to use it properly. You know, there's so many tools that we don't know that are out there for us where we don't even need a label. You know what I mean? Today, the independent scene is the best way to go. You know, like what you're doing with your merch, and we all do with our stuff. You know, it's like it's got to stay consistent.
That's facts. I like the fact that I could do what I want creatively, even if it's less monetizable, which allowed me to be clear. The second you take somebody else's money, the metrics control everything about what you do, and that's like fair enough. Somebody else is paying for your shit; they need their ROI.
Yeah.
So we basically caught up, I think, to like when you guys reconnect. So what were you doing over that period of like C.R.E.A. in 2017?
A lot of it I can't talk about.
Respect
For legal reasons.
Understand.
But that's the darker part of my life. Let's just put it that way. I did a lot of stuff that was, questionable. I learned a lot of lessons from what I did. But thankfully, I didn't get into too much legal trouble. I just got into a minimal amount, if you want to put it that way. And I did an extreme amount of reflection on it and an extreme amount of reaction.
Right.
Breaking out of... Anyway. I did some crazy shit.
The old
But-
days, the things that we've done.
Like,
Sometimes
people do things. I did not do those things, but like sometimes people have lives where, like, look, I was blessed that for all of the circumstances that my parents put up, put me through, etc. Like I never starved. There was always clothes. And we had last generation Nintendos and shit. We weren't like current gen, but those are blessings when you hear about some of the circumstances. So like, trust, it was all about that request brand life. Like we weren't talking nice shit. Shoutout Zellers, it's back now.
Straight up.
I'm tempted to buy some Zellers just to see, but like I looked at because
I remember when I was a spy, go up there, get rock aware.
Because it didn't look. Because I opened up the website on the Bay. And it wasn't like lit. It was just like, oh, you're poor. Welcome to Zellers. That was my feelings on the current Zellers. Sorry if you don't agree with it. But,
No, man, it's all good, man.
But I was talking to them. Because, sometimes I got that, like, spidey sense in my mind goes off where I'm like, I know somebody doesn't like what I just said. So you basically were you, like, making music and stuff during that phase?
Always.
Were you in bands? Like, was that, like, part of it all?
So I was like an in-between band phase. Like I wasn't in bands, and like I said, when I got to C.R.E.A.M, before we even like I like saw him in the halls. I was like, oh shit, no fucking way, you know what I mean? Which was crazy. But before that, like I said, I reconnected with like my roots. I was like going out to freestyle with Smizzy and like these boys, and there's a good like crowd of us. It was fun. It was fun times, but like I was, like I said, encouraged instead of discouraged at that point.
So this is the birth of you.
I don't believe that should have had an effect on me, but as a young child, you go through what you go through.
I don't know. I mean, art's an interesting thing. Like, a lot of my confidence, whether or not it's a good thing, comes from the fact that, like, people I respect me and what I do with it. If that didn't happen, I either need to get better or, something. So, like, I didn't become confident in music until that started happening. Like, especially lately, it's like, people who are way better than me fuck with me, so clearly I'm doing something right. So it's like, I don't have to stress that. But, like, back in the daytime, it's like, I always believed in myself, but when people don't take it, like in high school, people thought it was a joke, so I never thought to take it seriously, right? Like, I did it to express. It was more of a venting thing. But then in C.R.E.A.M, I remember vividly, it was stupid little moments, like, I did a karaoke of Forgot About Dre at Abbott at the Atrium.
That's not easy.
And when I did the ticka Slim Shady part, all the black people in the back got the fuck up and cheered. And it was in that moment I said, I know it sounds like what it is, but like they didn't react to nothing until that. And nobody else really reacted, but they were so loud and vibrant that I'm like, yo, I want that for the rest of my life. Right? And so, like, had that not happened, I don't know that I would have had the confidence to, because not long after that, I recorded my first bullshit song and et cetera, and moved like that. But it was really this one moment at John Abbott where I signed up and did Forgot About Dre, dude. I love Abbott. It was Abbott was like 3 great years of my life. Like, if there
We
was
got performed there a few times with the 5-piece. That was a thing, man. They're like, they had the talent show, and then they had their like show thing.
Yes,
and
where
we did
he's
both of
smoking
those.
ink, been eating pickles. Yo, you missed the part then where Hache got Sean to do a pickleback. Cause no, you were there. You commented on it.
I was waiting for him to realize.
It's like that.
It's okay.
I don't know. Willie's a funny guy in the comments. Sometimes you forget. You go through it. It's like, it's just how it be. Multitasking like a motherfucker.
Shout out Willie Scandal.
Willie's great. Shout out, because, yo, he's here. And, yo, I appreciate that shit, right? Like,
100%.
Like, it's always interesting to me to see these interviews because not everybody can have anybody pull up. Like, I don't mean that disrespectfully. I always want people to come every time. Sometimes, though, like when Witness came on, like, Witness has like 20-something years. Yo, people were there. They were remembering shit. And I'm like, man, they did all my work for me. But, like, the fact is, like, there are nights, like, whatever, where Willie come through and you just be there and you just be watching it because there's no hockey game happening right now. Because I'm telling you, if there was a hockey game he would not be here right now as much as he supports everyone.
Facts.
And I know that.
I had to stop watching hockey. It got me too mad. I can't do that no more.
I really just hope Toronto plays Edmonton in the finals and then Toronto wins. Like, that is my utopia.
I'm just sad the Bruins are gone.
I guess.
I just want to create some stigma.
I just wish Montreal was good again.
I'm okay okay with it. Like, I want to see a Canadian team win.
Facts.
As much as like
Facts.
people, I got no stake in this Toronto Montreal shit. Toronto been nice to Holden, so I got all love for Toronto.
Same here.
Facts.
And every time I meet Torontonians or whatever they're called, they're like, "Bro, what's up with
Just
this hockey
Hamilton.
bullshit? Like, why y'all got to do this shit?" And I'm like, "I don't do this shit. It's not me. It's them.
It's Montreal.
It's this Montreal. That's why I don't go to sport events a lot. I'm like, I'm not that kind of Montrealer, so I'm like out.
I live in the sport events. Like, I have no choice.
Yeah, my
Bar,
kids into
the bar
football.
I'm at, like, it's all sports. This is a sports bar.
Mm.
And hockey's like the biggest thing in Montreal. It's huge.
Super huge.
We got soccer fans, football fans, basketball fans, but hockey
It's a
Oh,
cult.
is, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fucking cult.
Lose their freaking mind.
And
Oh,
it's
they
like-
lose their minds, man. The fights I've seen in my bar over hockey, bro.
Oh,
You'd
for
be
sure.
like,
You'd swear that they were being paid
Why?
by the league. Like,
yeah. Yeah, like,
That's why I don't go to hockey.
well, that's kind of this kind of
Like,
why I
I'll
put
up with
sports
that in
down.
music
Mm.
because I understand the passion for music.
Fact.
So I mean, I'm not gonna act like I haven't been in some moments, but like hockey, I don't get it. So I don't want to be in the moment for hockey.
I like hockey. I wanted
it.
to play hockey for many years, but we just couldn't afford it.
it's
Or else I
expensive.
That's a
definitely-
fact.
or I
It's like,
definitely
yeah,
would've
2-3
been
bills
all
to just
there.
get started in
Oh, it's
hockey.
more than that.
Way more than that, man.
Okay.
Mm.
You're talking like $1,000.
Yeah.
So it's like really like
Oh yeah, you get your
Your
padding,
pads, a
you-
good stick.
skates.
A good stick's like $200, man.
Yo, now yeah, I tripped. Okay, back in my generation, you go to a freaking store, Canadian Tire, play it against sports. You're getting a decent hockey stick for $27 to $50. Decent, where I could take a whole bunch of slap shots, and the son of a gun won't break.
right. So the cheap sticks break fast.
Those don't exist
Whoa.
anymore, man. They really don't exist anymore. Everything's
Scrabble just
fiberglass
no
and
cheap
special wood and this and this. So your stick's like $100 minimum.
$100 for a cheap one.
And imagine you slap
You get a
shot the wrong
secondhand
way and
one
you
for
split that
50.
thing in two.
Facts.
That's wild. Like I mean, I know like how expensive like the hockey player sticks are, but you don't really think about the parent version of this because that's
Right.
I guess where you're running.
Yeah.
So this is why I learned, because I used to get mad because I wanted to play hockey. I used to live at the rink when I was growing up. Like, when I got like gloves, I got stuff from family. They all saved up and helped me get what I needed. He's got the game on. Oh shit! But I used to be really religious about hockey, man. Like big time.
You need
Just
to be
couldn't afford
rich
it.
to make it in hockey. That's a fact.
It's true.
And soccer, meanwhile,
That's what I played. It was
Soccer was
it's like
easy.
shin
I
pads.
played
That's
soccer.
it,
you got
bro.
a ball.
Yeah,
Shin pads
that's
and a
it.
ball, cleats and shin pads.
Theoretically, you don't even need that to play. You just need a ball.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh,
I mean, if you want to play,
No,
like,
you need cleats.
Well, I
you
played.
play properly.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can't get in
no,
a
no.
professional game without
Well, I
cleats.
played house league for a bit. I tried out inner city.
Mm.
Yeah.
I got on the team, but I didn't like the practices.
That's
Surprisingly, you don't need shin pads.
They were crazy.
I mean,
They'll let you break your shins.
People who play inner city are crazy. I'll say that. Practices
Yo,
in soccer are crazy.
I've been kicked.
The amount of
in the
running they
legs.
make you do, you're
that's
like,
why I was
bro.
like, yo, because I mean, I got into running in my like 30s,
Mm.
but like up until my 30s, the idea of running was miserable. So like soccer was.
I enjoyed it. I always
Not
enjoyed
it.
running. Now it's the other way around. Now it's like, oh my god.
That's
Soccer's
wild.
crazy. But yo, I'm just telling you this: getting kicked in the shins by someone who literally kicks for a living
Hmm.
doesn't feel good.
No, I can imagine that.
Feels
Alright.
fucking bad.
So you went through that whole phase, and then 2017 happens, and then how do you guys reconnect again at that point?
Shit. We were both going through a similar situation.
I actually remember it. I
Yeah.
remember it clear as day. So you're working
Yeah.
at
I was doing landscaping and shit.
no, it was before that. When I met you again after
I was doing
Christ-
warehouse work.
Renaissance.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
I pulled up there.
Oh shit.
I pulled up there. Was I going there? No, I was going next door.
Mm.
It was either the dentist or McDonald's. I can't remember what it was. I just know I was like, oh no, I remember what I was doing. I was smoking weed. I was smoking weed behind because like there's this little like pass behind, and we're just like we're just talking, and like I left my friends to go back, and I see Sean. I'm like, yo, what's up? He's like, No, you said, yo, what's up? Like, you recognized me first. You're like, yo, what's up? I turn around like, yo, shit! He's son! You know, like, I turn around kind of like, who's, you know? And then I see it, and it's Sean. I'm like, what the fuck? It's been like a couple years now, you know what I mean? Like, there's like the connection, the first reconnection, and then this. And I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, that's around
And I
2010.
go up and I see him, and he's like, yo, I have a kid now.
2011, 2012.
Around 2012. Because I just had my kid, you had just had your
my
kid.
yeah.
So he's like, I just had a kid, and I'm like, I just had a kid too, like, what the fuck, So we're all like talking and chatting it up. And then eventually, you know, like we exchanged, I forget what it was. I think it was phone numbers.
Numbers of Facebook or some shit.
Or both, yeah.
And then I went through shit.
Yeah, then
Lost that job.
Yeah, he was going through shit. I went through some fucked up shit too. My job literally closed down. And that happened to another job afterwards when we were living together. But like, it's just places closing down. It's fucked up. So we started talking. And we're talking, and we're like talking. We chilled every once in a while. That took like the span of a year though. Like when I think about that, over the span of a year, like we chilled. Every once in a while, we barely saw each other, but we keep in touch.
And then it just stopped.
Yeah. And then, what was it, like, out of literally nowhere, when I started living in Ashgrove, so I moved from one spot to another spot, and I ended up at this other spot, and I'm at Ashgrove. And then, that was when we really started chilling. I was like, oh, come over. We started, like, chilling. I don't know, like, before I was always, like, living with, like, some roommates and some stuff, and it was just, like, whatever. But when I started living alone, is like when we got the chance to like really reconnect on like the basis that where we were living with each other before. You know what I mean? Like when you live with somebody and like you went through shit, and then like it wasn't by any like choice of like, oh, I'm not gonna hang out. Like it was literally we both went through fucked up shit. I was in the system.
It was crazy how it happened. Like, honestly, it's like literally if you watch the timeline, you see like how we all just like just came in and out of each other's lives.
Even like if you're living, let's say, the straight and narrowest of lives, the same shit happens.
Yeah.
It's fucked up.
Usually what happens is I met a girl is what happens to a lot of people. I met a girl, changes your life. Or you get it,
kids, man. Kids
change your life.
Here's an example. Like Justice McFly started making real money. At a day job that I know because like I worked with him. So like, what he does for a living, why would you rap? Is a huge question. Like you have to ask yourself, and sometimes people just have like real priorities that come up, whether it's or maybe you get an opportunity to go do something completely parallel to like look at how David Hodges' career changed from like being an artist to going out to indigenous communities and teaching kids to make music.
Facts.
And the government pays him to do it.
Facts.
Like, this is like, sometimes shit goes on. So in all directions of life, though, that shit happens. People get brought all over, ping-ponged around. Sometimes your journey's like that. Sometimes it's not.
Yeah,
it's true.
It's crazy.
That's true. It's like how when we finally linked up again, it was 2017.
Right.
That was the whole flooding.
Yeah, it's flooding shit.
And they looked at him like, yo, you're going through some shit. You need a place to live. I need to find a place to live because I can't live down here. My parents' basement is trashed.
So once again, we got a place together.
Yeah, so we got a place together, and that lasted like. That was when it really started. Because I remember I started. I was kind of still doing my solo shit, but I was kind of like getting tired of certain things, like let me just get into something else. We get like inspiration, and that's when I started seeing him get back into the whole band thing with the other person that we had. And that's when I started managing him.
Yeah.
And the band.
Managing him or the band or
the both. The band.
And me, yeah.
Right. So you were just in the band being managed.
Yeah. But he was managing the whole band at the same time.
Right. Yeah.
And the band was fucked up.
Very talented.
This is crazy shit. Like that was one of the
music was very like
prominent like group bands things that I went through. Just because like the things we did in like 3 months was just like
Wait,
unheard of
the
in
whole band
Montreal.
was 3 months.
Pretty, yeah, it must have been
It
like
was about 6. It
Okay,
was good
6.
for it was for a good while.
So
'cause
what did you do?
the places we played were cool. They're all right. Like some
it was
bars
like
here and there, venues.
Yeah, open mic type things.
It was the reactions we got.
That Brutopia was
And,
always a favorite.
Dude, like we started walking around and people were like, "Oh, you're this and that."
Yeah.
Like downtown Montreal, like
Yeah,
it's just because we played on Crescent. You know what I mean? Like you play on Crescent, and you attract the right. You're in front of the right crowd, and you attract them into your music. They talk to their friends about it, and they talk to their friends about it, and they see you on the street. We were pretty decent at the time with like posting stuff on our like Facebooks and stuff. So our pictures were like
Then you guys
and-
were also like doing like busking and stuff downtown.
yeah.
That
Like
helped
the
a
main
lot.
guitarist and I, we would busk everywhere, and we do like duo shows. Where just like him and I would go around everywhere and play all the songs from the band. But
Hold on. Do you think busking is an effective strategy to push your music right now?
Fuck yeah.
yeah.
Fuck
So
yeah.
why aren't rappers
It's
busking
hands-on.
more?
Because not many people know that it's legal to do it if you go to the right spot.
Yeah.
Like, let's say I go into the Metro thing. Do I have to censor myself?
I don't think you have to Actually, no, I think you do have to
'Cause
censor
I'm like,
yourself.
you
Because
don't-
you have to register at certain spots.
You have to register.
there's-
and I-
there's a
that's-
symbol. You'll see a
Snowden has
symbol.
one of them spots, right? And I'm like
Yeah.
sitting there going, I don't know that I can really lose weight.
I mean,
Snowden, you can. So
I
like,
mean,
there's
it's not like someone's gonna be there watching you.
Nah, I know, but I'm
But if you want video
good
footage?
faith shit, you don't want to be like people walking with their kids. And
That's the
talking about
thing. If you
making
think
a
about the
pussy
kids,
spray.
because that's the problem, right? There will be children walking by. So if you
like-
censor yourself, you're
So
winning.
basically, you just
Yeah.
need to have a clean enough set to perform in front of families.
Exactly.
And then you run that
Yeah.
over and over again. Because
Yep.
while it might be boring for you to do your set, which I don't know, I think it might be fun to do it 3 times in a row. Still, my point is you're always facing a new flood of people.
exactly,
always.
So you set up a little QR code.
exactly, especially in the right metro or
Yo,
like,
Kill Team should go busking this summer.
right, like Bonaventure
Yeah,
or something
fun.
like that.
That's some fun shit.
Because if you talk about ROI, you're
I'm
able to
taking over.
literally.
Yeah, go for it.
That's amazing.
It's actually
you're,
good.
You're able to literally make money off of this. Because I've heard that, like Jay Uno has told me, right time of day, right places.
Yeah, bro. And we have loonies and toonies in Canada, huh?
Yeah.
And a
Yeah,
lot of
we
times
have.
people start throwing that. Next thing you know, you're there for 3 hours, and God knows how much you can make, especially if you catch enough attention.
And then on top of that, it's content because you film the experience for your
Mhm.
side. Oof, we should
Mhm.
really do this.
Yeah, we should, man. We
Get
should.
Monstrosity to film it and get a really cool video.
Yeah.
There you go, Willie. That's how we get our group tape done. We go busking.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys do this band, you get crazy reactions, but what you're saying is like it makes a lot of sense because like what people might not know, so Montreal's downtown basically is this long street. St. Catherine is the main strip, right?
Yeah.
Upon that, there's several like parallel streets that are just hot for XYZ
Yeah.
reason. They're just central bar hubs. Where Montreal's party scene is unique is you can pick one of these streets and you're good for the night.
The
There's
night.
so many
The
places.
entire night.
So like Crescent is
So
one
much
of these
to do.
streets. There might be across 3 blocks something like 30, 40 locations for you to visit, of which
Yeah.
at
It's
least
absolutely
half
insane.
are clubs and bars.
Yeah.
Saint
Montreal's
Laurent's
definitely a party
another
center.
one. In case you come through, that's
Yeah.
where it's like grungier. It's a different class. It's a different thing. So like, depending on your vibe, you find the strip that is the one that you like.
Yeah.
Right. And I know most other people's party scenes are not like that, which is why Montreal's kind of lit with it. So you have these centralized hubs, and so you basically took Brutopia is a dope bar.
Yep.
A lot of people go there every single time,
Yeah.
and they take bands like you guys went and played.
Tubby
Mhm.
Grumpies.
Yep.
There's
Crowbar.
Crowbar.
Crowbar's the shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's still around, but Crowbar was shit.
That
This
place
was the shit. I
That
place
fucked
got
with it
closed
heavy.
down real quick.
I smoked so many joints on that rooftop area.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Crowbar. Just on the streets. You know what we used to do? We do the illegal busking shit all the time.
That
where,
too.
Like, we wouldn't even ask for money.
Mm.
But it's technically still illegal, but it's technically not illegal if you don't ask for money.
Right.
But because some people would technically come up to us every once in a while and be like, yo, here's 20 bucks.
tips.
Like, here's $20. You guys are fucked up. You know what I mean? Like, that shit happened on a regular basis. We'd play on the bus. We'd play just like walking down the street. Like, my boy would have his guitar and he's strapped up. He'd just walk down the street and I'd start singing. You know what I mean? And people would just stop and follow us. Like, they just walk with us. You know what I mean? We're just like, yeah, it's kind of cool. You know, that's kind of a vibe. But that really brought a lot into perspective because even with all that and all the gratitude we had for it, I'm just going to say this, kids don't do drugs. Like, don't do the bad ones anyways. You know what I mean? Like, elevate yourself, but, like, don't degenerate yourself. Because, like, giving out your energy to another, like, potential entity is poisoning. I watched it happen time and time over again. And, like, at the same time, it brought me to the path where I'm at right now. But, like, we're onto some shit with that band. Like, we're on some shit. Like, that was, like, pop music. We called ourselves Montreal.
It was some good fucking music, man. The videos are still out there, too.
It was lit. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it was lit. We had some crazy songs. And it was like that Muse type shit. You know what I mean? Like, that Muse type music.
Big time.
You definitely have that kind of
different. Different.
Bass player, drum, guitarist.
Oh, everybody had, like, these crazy talents. And, like, but I'm just gonna say it, like, you know, straightforward, like, drugs brought that down.
Drugs brought that down, and people not seeing the bigger picture, you know.
Which drugs probably has a big part of it.
It's an influence, but at the same time, you make your own decisions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, which led to the day that I started getting back into making beats again, and I started working on a track called Float.
that's the one.
And this guy comes walking in. I think I or midway through my verse, and he comes in and he starts singing this hook. I was like, wait, say it again. And he's doing it. I'm like, yo, that's the hook. Fuck it, you're jumping on this.
That was literally the start.
That's the day that it all started.
How it started.
That's a good song, though.
Yeah.
And, like, it just, you walked through the room, heard this being played. That's organic as fuck.
Right, and then we recorded it, and it was like the first official track that because I felt fucked up that I couldn't get him and the band recorded and have an actual recorded track to, like, master. You know what I mean? I was trying to find a place to do it, and, like,
a lot of the reason I don't have a band is that.
That's the thing, right? And it's not cheap, bro. No. We found places, and they're like, oh, yeah, it's $450 for a session. You're like, $450? How long do we get? Oh, 2 hours. Excuse you? 2 hours? Fuck.
In all defense of these people, because I know it sounds ludicrous, it's not the guitars, the bass, the vocals. It's just doing drums right. That honestly eats up like 2/3 of an album budget. Because, like, there's, like, what, 18 fucking mics sometimes, depending on how many drums are there.
Facts.
So you got to think about it. That means when you look at that mixing board and you see the, like, 100 tracks and you look at rappers and you're like, okay, why do you need that? It's not for the rappers. It's for fucking bands and shit.
Facts.
And then a guitar might have 2-3 different inputs depending on setups and all this other shit.
Exactly.
So, like, just to, like, these guys know how to do all that, whereas sometimes the rap engineer just know how to mix vocals to a beat and, you know, fuck around with synthesized sounds. And it's no disrespect to these people. It's just to contextualize.
Definitely easier to synthesize than it is to actually deal with instruments.
So, like, there is an experience gap that justifies the price if the people know what they're doing.
Yeah.
If they don't, it's extortion.
And if someone misses one freaking hit, you have to redo the whole damn song again. You know what I mean? And that was the main issue that we were having with the band. Is just like 85% of the band was paying attention, and the others just wasn't.
You got your fucking 15%er.
Yeah.
I say that, not plural. 15%er is just like, fuck you guys, I'm lit. You're like, but why are you lit now? Like, can't you wait till after the practice? After the recording
or go to
session?
Do shows and then he's screwing up on stage.
Yeah,
it's like, nah, man.
Backdoors.
So, like, I felt indebted, like, to him to really make something happen, you know. So we did that track, and then another one happened, And another one happened. Another one.
Yeah.
And now it's where it's at right now.
Facts.
Yeah, man.
And it's like, what, 6 years later now?
Yeah.
2017.
Yeah. Okay, so you guys start working together, right?
Yeah.
And this is the pre-COVID era.
Yeah.
And
This is pre-COVID.
you start putting on tracks. Like, how do you guys like start to transition from that band situation into this? Do you guys start performing? Do you guys
we performed a 1-2 time. We got a one opportunity. We performed Float and another track. Because at that point, we only had like 2 tracks.
Right.
And we did the show with my sister. Remember that one? Had the big afro.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, we just started trying to figure out what we were going to do. We didn't even have a name at that point, our first show. I think we only got a name officially.
It's only like a third or like fourth show.
Yeah.
Like right before that.
So you guys just started making the music. And how did you guys get put on the flyer then? Was it like Hache?
Those are our actual names.
Yeah. Flakes P, and I think I just called myself Hache at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why Hache?
It's actually my biological last name.
Your actual name is Hache, like spelled like that and everything?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse has always stayed the same. My middle name changed, document-wise, and my last name changed document-wise as well when I got adopted. But my biological last name is Hache.
That's crazy.
Yeah. There's a very big deepness to it, you know?
Facts.
What's the deepness?
I'm trying to, like, continue on with something that apparently died, but I want to keep it living.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because, like, I believe that there's life in death and death in life.
Facts.
And it's all a big circle.
Facts.
So at the end of the day, it's, you know, like, I love my parents, the ones that raised me, right? So I don't want to take that away from them. But at the same time, I want my mom, who, like, birthed me and, like, went through the pain of laboring me, to live on somehow, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So just to clarify, your birth mother gave you the name Hache, and then your parents gave you your name Jesse.
Hache is my biological last name.
Oh, last name.
Yeah.
Fair. And then Jesse is your actual first name.
Yeah, it's always been my actual first name.
So your name is Jesse Hache.
Jesse Hache.
Cool.
Yeah.
Honestly, you meet people on Facebook and in the rap world, it gets super weird with names. So, like, depending on who you are, you're more comfortable with it or not. But, yo, I have people who
It's true. But then you can figure out who people are, I'm telling you. Like, when people call me Flicks, I know exactly from what era they are.
It's true.
At the time, I'm like, what's good? You know, when you hear Rozwel, it's like I know exactly where they're from, you know.
I feel that mine's just been, like, my name the whole time. So, I do have so people who call me HSR, like, exclusively, they know me because I was HSR until 2017 when I found out that this was a terrible fucking rap name. I mean, it's the Hamilton Bus Company. So when you go to HSR,
Really?
Yeah, it is.
Yo, shit.
So HSR is the STM of Hamilton, and that's like it's got real Google equity, right? Because Hamilton's got 500,000 people, so it's bigger than you think. And then I found out like. There's a beat maker named HSR out there, and I'm like, oh, this name's trash. And by then I had my logo, and I wanted to this is when DistroKid got really strict with like releasing covers, so I wanted to become HSR 514 to keep the HSR, and they were like, no, you'd have to change your logo, but my government name was in my logo, so I went with that, so I didn't have to change my logo. But yeah, no, don't Google your names beforehand. Double check that shit.
Yeah, facts. I've learned that a few times trying to start a couple of companies. I'm like, always learn, okay, it's the idea I have in my head. Let me do the research to make sure it's not an idea already taken.
Yeah, no. Otherwise, you get into it. But yeah, but people who, like, call me H, that means they know me from, like, I had, like, a run from 2012 to, like, 2014. And I was out, like, I performed a lot. And then I stopped. But enough people remember me from then that they just call me HSR. No matter what I say, they can't help it in post.
That's what it is.
And it's just how they know me, and I'm like, okay, I guess that's fair. It's a battle I will lose. You won't find anything with that on Spotify, but. So you guys, running the music thing, you start pushing it, and then, like, I guess COVID hits.
Fucking COVID.
Like, were you guys
COVID
like doing
hit.
shit before COVID? Like, was it really starting to become something?
We were just kind of like getting into the music really, really like in a new place at that point.
Yeah. We had moved.
Yeah, we were like, it was different.
It was very different.
It was different. Then it happened,
And then COVID.
and it kind of just like motivated us more. We had the reverse than what we thought we would have. You know, you'd think like during COVID, be depressed, not wanting to do shit, and we just kind of became really bored.
Build a studio.
We built a studio. We started doing little what was it, Nerf gun battles
Yo,
online
sick.
for fun.
The Nerf gun battle.
A college frat house.
Basically, you know,
Yeah.
we could have been very big representatives for Corona and Heineken at that time. I'll
We
tell you that
so
much.
could have. We had so much Corona.
Oh my God, man.
But yeah, I like what you said though, because I mean, for me, I feel like COVID motivated the fuck out of me.
Hmm.
Sam.
Instantly, I got 10 hours a week back in my life.
Right, it also made you it gave you a chance to really look at yourself. One thing that what people didn't realize is that you got an idea of what it's not exactly like, very far from it, but kind of what it's like to be incarcerated.
A
You
little
know what I
bit,
mean?
yeah.
You weren't allowed to
In
go out.
prison,
You had
in
to
your
do
house.
this. You had to
Especially
do
if you were
that.
like me, who followed the rules, and 8 o'clock came and you stayed home.
Right, right.
I know
So-
that not everyone did that.
I did not.
Apparently
For sure
people who
not.
Had parties and shit, and I wasn't invited.
There was a lot. I mean, a lot of things went down, but it made people really have time to look at themselves and figure out what are they gonna do to pass time. And you saw this whole like people going live starting happening, so we kind of jumped into that.
We did
you
that.
know, with
That
the
is definitely
Monday
what
night
I noticed,
reviews.
you guys.
where we drinking and smoking, and reviewing music. We got introduced to like that lifestyle by a few other people.
That's some fun shit. Still.
Yeah, and I think that's where we started really growing. And then that time we went across Canada to meet Merkules, you know, like that really made us realize, okay, so we really got something here, you know, like sending in our music to be reviewed by people all over the world from like Ontario and the States.
You guys did the whole sending the music round.
Yeah,
You
we
guys
went
did the
ham
show.
on that shit. Like I think we jumped
Personally,
on like
like-
7 to 10 different shows from all over.
I was like wildly never down to send my music into most of the shows because at that point I've been doing album reviews for so long that like I just didn't care what reviewers thought
Yeah.
of my music. I was like, I know it sounds
feel you.
weird. Like
For us, it wasn't even about the reviews, just a chance for people to hear the music for themselves. Like, you know, they have fan base going, so like, okay, let's play the song. The guy's bashing your song, but people in the comments are, no, I actually like that. What's your
Say
name?
word.
Smoking ink, and then
That's a good perspective to have on that shit. I know there's that one dude who I don't know if you want to name that got that traffic a whole lot on some flash in the pan shit, but like literally everyone else had like 6 views on their shit, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I know it sounds in hindsight, it kind of sounds arrogant to be like, it's a lot of work. Because you have to.
it is a lot of work,
You have to
man.
sit there on this guy's show and participate. Because
Mhm.
I'm not just about to come on your live and send in the music and not participate
Facts.
in the fucking chat and all that shit. And I think at that point I was doing interviews like every fucking day for a minute.
Dynamite Doritos.
What is it, Dynamite Dorito?
I don't know. This guy's into some weird spicy shit, so I don't know.
It's hot.
That sounds like intensity. I'll try that. It's not a pickle flavor, is it?
Pickle flavor.
Is it?
No. Yeah, it is. Okay.
Well, I was like, Dynamite is not pickle.
Oh, shit.
That is spicier than I would normally eat.
It's got that heat, you know?
But it's not
It's
that
good to
bad.
heat, you know? We tried to do the hot ones thing during COVID.
Did you?
We tried. Well,
Like your own, like, hot one style?
oh yeah.
It was fun.
No bueno. I'm already like no bueno right now. I don't mind spicy. When spicy tries to kick your backside, yo. I always tell people, I don't know how you do it, because you know it's going in your mouth that hot. It's coming out the other side just as hot, right?
Yo, my brother decided at one point to take on the world.
Oh no.
I mean, I think he's eaten all the spiciest of the spices. Like, he did it all. I
Like ghost
watched,
peppers and shit?
whatever, like the weird ones, like beyond ghost peppers, like the fucking strange ones where you really
said beyond ghost pepper. You got me intrigued.
I don't really know a lot about this world of peppers, but my dude would pull up these sauces where like
you got like Pepper X.
He would like find like the most whoever his grandma who made like the secret super spicy shit with the fucking imported this and that's, and then he would eat the shit. I don't even think he enjoyed it. Tears coming down his face and shit. And then later on in the day, you would just hear the
yo, for sure.
And he did this so much that he dead ass fucked up his stomach and can no longer eat like the same kind of foods. So, like,
no.
He was, like, you were talking the most insane shit to prove points on some like.
I remember. Now that you're telling me this, I remember those.
But you remember when it was like a phase? Like, it was cool
no.
at a certain point.
Oh yeah.
No. I remember a few
my
times.
dad made spicy curry one time when I was a kid, and my lips burned for like 3 hours.
Yeah, I remember one time we didn't see your brother for 2-3 days because of something he ate.
It'd be like that sometimes. So you guys made like that kind of content a lot. Did you ever post it?
No.
I still have it.
No, there's a lot of crazy videos that didn't get posted. He had started this thing, Beers and Reps.
Beers and Reps.
which you could kind of say was like a West Island Trailer Park Boys.
So funny.
It was hilarious.
We showed everybody.
Oh.
We pranked and showed everybody. I remember walking to a Walmart. So I walk into this Walmart. I'm like, yo, can I see your manager? I'm like, why? I'm like, I work here. And I'm like, no, really? And I'm like, yeah, I was supposed to show up yesterday, but cracking prostitutes, I can't. So, no tomorrow. Straight face.
He's
straight
not
face,
joking
straight face.
either.
Like, I worked on this straight face for so long. I'm proud to say that I fucked that shit up. And she's like, okay, yeah. She actually brings me to the break room and shows me the manager's office in a Walmart. And I walk in, I knock on the manager's office door. Everybody in the break room is just looking at me eating their fucking lunch. Like, what the fuck is going on? Me and my boy. I knock on the manager's door. I walk in, and I'm like, hey, how's it going? I just want to come and apologize for not showing up to work yesterday. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, my name's Jesse. You hired me. And he's like, no, I didn't. And I'm like, yeah, you did. And like, I just want to apologize because like I like smoked mad crack yesterday, and like I started fucking some prostitutes, and like that was the end of my day. Like I don't remember anything else after that. Like so I didn't come to work. I'm really sorry. Can I still work here? He's like, yo, like, what's your name again? He grabs my full name, puts it in the computer in the system, and he's like, are you sure you didn't apply at another Walmart? I'm like, I don't know, I was wasted on my interview. Like, I really don't remember my interview at all. He's just like, you might want to check a different Walmart, man. We don't have you in the books here, like, at all. Like, no interviews, nothing. I'm like, oh, shit, my bad. I'm so sorry. It must have been a different Walmart. I just shook his hand and, like, saw my way out. Then we go grab the carts, the buggies for Walmart. And I had this bottle with vodka in it. It looked like a water bottle, you know, vodka, water, like kind of the same. I started drinking it.
Oh,
and
man.
I'm falling off the cart. Like, I'm literally falling off the cart on purpose. I go and I sit down. There's like these lineups on each side of me, and then there's like a vending machine right in the middle. I sit down in front of the vending machine, and I open the door, and I start like grabbing Cokes one by one, just looking at them like this. Like, he eventually comes out. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, bro, I can't get home. I'm like, no one hired me. I'm sad and I got drunk. He's like, what? I'm like, this water bottle is vodka. This guy is just like, at this point, he doesn't know what to do. He's like the manager. And he's like, all right, like, what do you need? I'm like, bro, I'm here because I wanted my job back and you didn't give it to me, but now I need cat food. And this man went and grabbed a cart. Okay, he's like, you stay here. I'll go get your cat food. Which one do you want? He went with a cart, got my cat food, brought it back, and walked me to the fucking the pay yourself machines. And I paid my bill and walked out. Ever since then, I walked in a few times and seen him, and he's like, "Hey, how you doing? You okay this time?"
Wow.
Lots of shenanigans. That wasn't even half
This
of
is
the
just a
shit that
COVID
happened.
one
Yeah, that's one of them.
COVID adventure for a show idea that you wanted to make.
We
Yeah.
used to walk around with the 2-4, all right, like on our shoulders, like 3 of us. We each had a 2-4 on our shoulders, and we walk around, and we had like these mics, and we bought like the whole setup for the ears and the mics and everything, and like one mic just to like ask people questions, and we walk around people's driveways and be like, "Can we ask you questions about drinking in public?"
This is in a suburb. This is in the West Island, okay? I need to remind you, this isn't downtown like those normal vlogs you see where guys downtown Montreal or something. Like, no, they're walking down the streets of the West Island doing this. And
Yo, we
Point
sat
Claire.
out in front of the SAQ offering people free beers.
And people
Going
would
and
actually
coming
take.
out. Yo.
Remember that one guy that cracked one open and drank it with you?
Yeah, he chugged like 2 beers with us.
This old guy.
Yeah, he was like loving it. He was loving it. He was
Oh,
sitting
my
down having
God.
the time of his life. Just answering any question we'd ever ask him.
That's incredible.
It was amazing.
All of that, and you just filmed this, or you just did this?
A lot of it was filmed. Some of it was.
Some of it wasn't filmed because people forgot to hit the record button.
Yeah,
Fair.
we were pretty fucking toasted.
Yeah,
But that's
the
still-
2-4s were actually being drank at the same time also.
So like, effectively, this is just y'all being wasted on
Some
some
Trailer
real
Park Boys shit, for
jackass
real.
shit.
Jackass Trailer Park Boys mixture, you know.
Fair. And then you decided not to release this content.
We wanted to release it.
But other people just
Other people didn't want to be part of
didn't
it.
fall through and shit fell apart.
Unfortunately, collectives.
This is the thing, you know, finding a collective that's solid,
Yeah.
that fights through the
Not
shit.
gonna lie, I would be down to do half of that shit. I don't know how much I want to walk around with 2-4s, but come up with the right gimmick, storyline, etc., and I'll talk my way out of anything.
That's some crazy shit.
Oh yeah, like the time we got a ticket filming Wolf.
What did you guys do?
We got a ticket for being on the side of the highway.
Yeah. It was some crazy shit.
You're not supposed to. I guess no.
Whatever, man. We had
In
some
our
super
defense, the
racist
guy's
cop.
like, "There's a sign." Oh, when we get to that shit, he's like, "There's a sign that says you can't walk there." I'm like, "There's no sign there.
There was no sign.
It's just open grass, and then highway."
Yeah.
Just kind of like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know all the rules.
Of course,
but
it was illegal what we were doing, but
yes, but trespassing
good
for
footage.
the sake of art is something that I think a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think most of us get the permits. We're required to film in public. That, you know, all the shit. Like, nah, just do it.
Yeah.
Like, worst case scenario, I'll take. Like, I filmed at the cemetery, and it literally says in their shit, you can't make commercial products here. And I put the green monetization on it. I figure I'll take the cease and desist. There's a song about my dead grandma. I want to rap it at her grave. You know, like,
Yeah.
what are you gonna do? Really come at me for that? Okay,
facts.
I'll take it down if need be.
Sometimes it does happen though.
And if it does, fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll take it. But I'd rather make the art.
Yeah.
Facts.
You make the
Facts. Can't get rid of the moment, right?
No. And it's
It's
what I
assume
want.
responsibility for it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. As I get older, I get a little riskier with some of that shit I'd be
These are
willing to
actually
do
good.
for the sake of
Yeah, those
videos.
are good pickles.
But I'm super into this in public shit. Because, like, to me, like, when everyone talks about how you really market yourself, it's like, just imagine everything you're doing. Only we do a Kill Team challenge.
Mm.
You, me, Showbiz, Chris Crow, and we walk up and we just approach strangers and go, whose song do you like the best? And we just put a song against each other. And then we make motherfuckers listen to our songs back to back to back to back to back, even if it's a minute and a half of each. And then we keep a score of who wins.
Mm.
And then we just do this over and over and over and over.
And then we
and
give
over.
out a prize.
Whatever, in the team. Whoever gets the most points gets whatever. Maybe Jesse gets a jar of pickles or something. I don't know.
Fuck yeah.
But, like,
That YouTuber
you
shit.
create that because I saw them kids doing it, so I'm not even gonna lie. I stole this idea from NSL Collective and those the little ones that came through to our show. I stole this idea from them because it's a lit idea. But like what they had was more followers on their Spotify after, more people get exposed to your shit.
Facts.
Now that I'm hustling concerts, we're constantly hustling this, constantly hustling that, and like that kind of in person content is the future of music marketing.
Facts. You got some real marketing content that like wasn't around before. Like, people are coming up with new ideas every day.
Also, with the AI world, if you out there in public, face to face, yes, you can't replace with a robot.
Facts.
So it's like a way to like, I guess, modernize it all. Anyway, I think it's really crazy how you took COVID and how it motivates you to do such creative shit, even if the world didn't know you were doing it.
So that's the thing, you know, like, that's why we push so much, because, like, just what we achieved during COVID was mind-blowing. Like, I never thought in my life that I'd go across Canada during COVID.
Oh, wow.
And they basically took a road trip.
Yeah, we were right across from Montreal right to
You
Vancouver
guys
Island.
interviewed a bunch of people on the way, too, eh?
Yeah.
Like, I think Organic was on that list.
Yeah, I think so. There was a few. There was Details, bunch of guys from Nimo.
Just you smoking fucking Cheeto.
It had to be done.
No bueno.
It had to be. Every time you take a puff,
That's what it be. That's what it be.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, they went around, and then like you saw Canada in a different way because you drove
Big
to
time,
Vancouver.
man.
Because Montreal to Vancouver, you might not know it, but it's a long ass fucking distance.
Yo.
50-something
I love Ontario, certain parts of Ontario, but like Ontario is too fucking big.
Huge.
We went from Hamilton, because we went from Montreal to Hamilton, and we went from Hamilton to start going on this trip.
Right.
It took us 2 days to get the fuck out of Ontario.
Bro.
Ontario is pretty long.
Shit was crazy.
It's just on road after on road
This
after
is the definition of no bueno. I've seen the same scenery over and over and be like, yo, we're finally out of Ontario? Nah, bro. Still another day. What do you mean still another fucking day? No.
Yo, it's 830 something kilometers.
Oh, yeah, it's
wide
crazy.
on that one highway, and you know that because the highway markers are the kilometers, and when you hit Quebec, it's like 830 something or whatever it is, right? Which means the other side is that many kilometers away.
Yep.
So if you're doing like 120 an hour, you know, it's a lot of fucking.
Bro.
That's
There's
just
a lot of
non-stop driving with no traffic, no nothing.
Oh, yeah.
You hit Toronto, I'm sure traffic.
I'll say Saskatchewan is very disorienting. That's the word I can use.
How so?
That place is fucking flat, dude.
It's flat as fucking
Like,
flat.
they're not talking shit when they say they're flat as fuck. Like, I remember we're driving down the highway, and I can see all the way down the highway, like, way, way, way down. We're talking, like, 100 kilometers down.
No.
And then I look off into the field, and there's a house. It's, like, way down. It looks this big. And I see the people walking and shit, and I realize that place is 100 kilometers away or more.
You can see the people.
Yeah.
No movies.
Fair.
Just flat.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Salt patches everywhere, whatever the hell it was that was on the side of the road.
Literally
Salt
lakes.
deposits and stuff all over the place. Canola oil, canola fields to the kilometer, just yellow for the
And
kilometers.
then Manitoba kicks in.
Yeah, you start seeing like, well, it's trippy because the clouds come really low because you're actually going up. And then all of a sudden, like, you're looking off and like, oh, that's a lot of clouds. And one of the guys who drives like, that's not clouds. Like, what do you mean? He's like, you'll see in like 2 hours. We start getting closer and I start realizing it's not clouds, it's the Rocky Mountains.
Oh, say word.
And they stretch. So like, if I'm looking this way, panoramic wise, from like the corner here all the way to like the corner there was just mountains. And you see the peaks off in the distance. You're like,
Rockies was nuts.
what the hell? And then we got there, and we got to the edge, and you're literally like going through it, and you're seeing the size of these mountains. You're like, you feel
Tunnels through it or
small.
something?
Yeah, man. It goes in between and stuff. Like, we stopped at
feel
Lake
like a
Louise.
fucking grain in the sand.
Oh, yeah, it really makes you feel small. I'll tell you that. You realize how big this planet is, like, and how grateful to be for the blessings and things you go through, to be alive to witness things like that, you know?
Yeah,
Like, when we went to Lake Louise, this crazy son of a gun, we'd done an interview, and then this guy decides, oh, I'm going to go jump in Lake Louise, glacier water. Freezing water, but it's like, that's a
get it,
moment and a
though.
half, like,
You have to try it at least once.
right?
amazing.
Just the view behind them. I remember taking a picture with the 2 Corona ball cans. Freaking
We should be sponsored by Corona.
Yeah, that picture would have sold beer, I'm telling you.
You just got to do the right kind of street videos that are legal enough for Corona to sponsor you.
Facts. Facts.
Because, yo, I'm telling you, that shit, TikTok fodder, done, edited right. Because, I don't know, like, I know how to organize it. The editing part's where I die.
Editing is,
Bro, it took me an hour to
hard
put
work.
words on my TikTok at the bar. I was sitting there at E Old Orchard Pub working on a TikTok. I think it took me an hour to
It's
make
hard.
a minute
I
and
was
50
witnessing that.
seconds.
It's hard, bro. That's
Just
why I
trying to-
really big shout out to videographers who do all this editing, man. Like, I've done it.
And
I've
then
done interviews.
Nobody. The only comment I got was, "This was tedious to watch," and I'm like, at least he commented.
Oh man, no, that was a vibe though. And then meeting him as another celebrity, you know, like
Merkules.
yeah, he was humble as fuck. He's really chill.
Did you guys like watch him perform and shit? Like, was it?
No, this was still COVID, so like everything was shut down.
It's an interview.
Yeah,
You
he's
guys
been
did.
interviewed. That place is something else, man.
That
Yo,
beach.
bald eagles are huge. Wild bald eagles are
Is it Vancouver?
huge. Vancouver Island.
Which is next to Vancouver,
Yeah.
but a separate thing.
Yeah,
That's where the Green Party lady's from, I think.
I'm not sure.
On my Canadian
think so.
politics shit.
I'm not sure. All I know is that place is very magical.
Yeah.
Just
So's the ferry. You're getting chased by
Yeah.
security.
Say what?
the shenanigans on the ferry. They got these huge ferries that bring you from like Vancouver to Victoria,
Right.
Nanaimo and stuff. Like actually pull like big 18-wheelers on there and stuff. And just the shenanigans this guy and another person would do. The security started following us around.
I don't know if I want to fuck with security on a boat.
Not funny, man. What are you gonna throw us off?
Yeah.
I don't know. Arrest you when you get off.
Can't really do
we
nothing.
didn't do anything to get arrested for.
No.
It's like there's like parts you're not supposed to go on the boat, like the front of the boat. And we just like climbed over the ladders and we just like went to the front of the boat. Security's like, "What are you doing?" We're like, "It's my job." And, like we're just saying dumb shit. And, like
All the
eventually we climbed back
shenanigans.
up and they started like following us everywhere. Like, it was just fucking something else, man.
Yes. But I'll say the landscape out there is something
Whew.
else, man.
It's beautiful. We went cliff jumping.
Palm
Little
trees
cliffs
in
and
Canada.
stuff. Oh yeah,
Yeah, I believe that.
palm
That
trees in
West Coast
Vancouver.
life is
At the
different.
McDonald's, bro.
Yeah, I remember that shit. I was like, is that really a palm tree? Am I really looking at that right now? Like, the fuck?
It's a different. It's a different. Like, it feels like. I mean, I haven't been there, but like it looks like it's a completely different everything.
It's a
to
different
Montreal.
world. That and Kelowna. Kelowna is something
different.
else. It's like Malibu,
Like desert
California, desert. Like, it's different.
This is all just in BC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kelowna's really different.
vibes. Facts. There's a lot.
Kids
yeah.
are fucked up out there, I'll
Like
tell you that. We met a 10-year-old that was drunk.
Wasted, piss wasted.
And he thought that we were celebrities and shit. He
And all his
wanted our
10-year-old
autograph.
friends were all drunk,
Yeah,
his
so we gave him
parents were
autographs.
there.
His parent was right there.
encouraging this shit.
Different lifestyles, man. That's all I'm gonna say. Beautiful place too, but
And they're all jumping off
shit.
these like 3-meter high fucking diving boards and shit. Like man built like wooden like thing in the middle of like the sea. Well, not in the middle of the sea, but like right on the shore.
Right.
Deep enough for you to dive off of.
So you're saying we got to figure out a way to go out and make a trip out there.
Oh,
and
yeah.
make it
Oh, yeah, man.
profitable.
oh yeah, definitely.
That was the first time
Definitely.
we
Just the
fished.
footage alone, if it's planned like a trip that we're just filming for footage wise, like
Yo, we make a
that's
documentary.
vibes.
You know, honestly, this is somewhere where we can actually get a grant.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, for grant for music, it's a complicated subject, but if you're gonna create a cultural tourism project,
Mm.
all of a sudden people are on board. People be getting wild grant money for documentaries for way less good ideas.
Mm.
That's true.
I'm
That's true.
really into the documentary thing.
I
That's
think
one of
that's
my
what's his
passions right
face
now.
that helped film that thing is doing, because I've seen him posting a lot of stuff like that, and he's going to places where I'm like, yo, that takes a lot of money to go there, bro.
But it's also like it's because it's also way easier to plan, right?
Yeah.
Like I know how to plan a docu. I know it sounds weird, but like I have been watching how they make them. I watch a lot of the YouTube shits. A lot of content I consume is just like, okay, how do you replicate this? And it's really just a combination of interviews, B-rolls, and experiential voiceover thought things, or like now you're in the car and you're having your little moments. So if you plan this all, it's really just planning the budget. And I think you can ask for like 50 grand. So.
And they did it with what, 15?
I mean, it might
Less,
be like.
'cause
Well, yeah, we won't get into that, but
But like all I'm saying is, so as long as you ask for a realistic amount that matches your project's actual projected expenses, and it takes into account shit like the editor and
the
all of
VOT,
this shit.
yeah.
So as long as
Where you're
it's
sleeping.
literally planned right to the detail, then you can answer their questions in a way where it get approved. And honestly, from what I understand, Quebec does fuck with English people.
For that stuff, yeah, because it's film and it's video. They're really big into that type of art thing. 'Cause that's
And,
what
like,
Montreal's about.
So like for me, it's like that kind of shit. And then what's the soundtrack? Your fucking music, baby.
Facts, though. You slip in your stuff here and there, you know what I
Because
mean?
then you're getting them SoCan checks if that shit gets views, and then every time it's played on YouTube and this, that, then the mechanical royalties and all the
For sure, especially if you line up a
I don't
1-2
know if
thing where it's like you
mechanical
guys went to go
royalties apply here.
see a show and you're actually performing on that show.
Yeah, and then like
Maybe.
that's a fact. You could like squeeze in the 2-3 seconds because you gotta be like smart about that shit.
Exactly.
But then all of a sudden, you're not just a rapper, you're not just an artist, you're a person who contributes to culture, and now you're interesting enough to make art that like I don't even think anything I come up with today would matter if I hadn't gone through this whole interview process. Like I hear stories like yours all the time now, and it's really like put into perspective how much or little I've done in life, right? Like, cause I wasted a lot of my life before I got serious. Like, I was my mid-20s before I started to really like take shit seriously. Y'all were like at this from what teenagers for real.
Yeah, it's always been my passion to be an entertainer.
And like a lot of people, even Willie, who's still here, has been in this since the 90s. So it's like seeing all of that level of effort and seeing people who are still passionate about it today, that shit motivates me and keeps me focused on my grind, because at the end of the day, like I think the hardest part about like the 5 to 10 year part of being an artist is realizing how many people have done this for 20 years.
Yeah.
And then how everyone's kind of sort of in the same place. I mean, yes, we're not all in the same. We're all kind of sort of in the same place.
For me, it was realizing that there's a lot of people who are making 6 figures a year off of music and we don't know who they are.
Yeah, they're not even famous.
They're not like what we call super famous, you know? They found their fan base and this is what they do, whether they perform here and there. They're still making 6 fucking figures off music whilst doing everything else they love.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people, I don't know if it's like go out of their way to gatekeep knowledge, but I think a lot of people tried to share a lot of knowledge to a lot of people who didn't listen, so they stopped trying.
Yeah.
And they stopped caring, and they don't really, like, whatever, they're good. And then
They start charging.
fair. Like, I want to be mad, but, like, what? Like, I'm not going to act like I'm not going to charge for all the shit I learned.
Facts.
I just spent, like, 9 hours doing a very rudimentary job on podcast editing. But if you want to do those 9 hours, I can do it better than you in the audio. I'm sure you can do it better than me. But I'll sit there 3 or 4 hour bullshit, something like this long. It's going to take 5-6 hours to edit it. So you want me to do that? It's not free.
True. Time is money, man.
And even if it's
Especially
knowledge
editing,
shit,
it's
right? Like, bro, do you know how many people ask me about OBS? Hundreds. How many? A lot of them followed up. So, but I had to write. I had to write an article because it took too much. It was like, yo, like, why is this free?
Yeah.
I googled, you didn't.
Facts.
I had to. I guess I had to get older and broker. Like, really spend money to really appreciate it.
You start realizing how much you're worth and how much information you have is
Why
worth.
am I paying everybody $50 an hour, but I'm not doing nothing that's worth that?
Yeah.
And then
Translate.
So then you also realize nobody has money. But like, end of the day, it's like, yo, people have to appreciate that the ones who do figure out how to make six figures are probably going to charge for it,
Yeah.
because if they know how to do it and they can give you that knowledge or put you in that position, I'm sure 80% of them is full of shit, but for the 20% that are legitimate, like, yo, they're actually worth whatever dollar they're charging you.
It's true. That is true.
However, finding the legitimate ones is...
Yeah, then finding the funds to pay for the legitimate.
Not for real. Like, that's... Like, I don't think people really know. I think a lot of people start music, they get to the part where they can produce the album. I'm like, bro, I can't afford a music video right now. That's why I'm not, like...
It's true, and that's the key part to staying relevant, is having visuals where people still see your face
Like,
in different ways all the time.
because it's like you have to keep elevating too as you go on. So it's like I did the phase where I could get away with my corny little cell phone shits. COVID's over. You know,
Right?
like-
So now it's like people want to see growth, and like people follow
I don't
growth.
think I could get 30 people to pull up at a video shoot right now to make like my shit look good in an alley. So
Even then, if you do something more cinematic, right, you could just be by yourself. It's just the point of having the money to actually make that happen. Like, we've had crazy freaking ideas for videos, and then when I look at the numbers, I go, where the fuck am I gonna come up with freaking $6,000 to do this? But it'd be such a sick idea. And looking at it, I'm like, fuck. It's almost like this. You want to
the
rob a
worst part
bank?
is that $6,000 isn't where it stops. Because if you're putting $6,000 into a video, you probably need to put $6,000 into paid ads and shit
Exactly.
like that too.
And placement, because people don't realize that when you see an artist video on MTV or BET, they paid for that placement.
I just want to add to that. So part of my day job, which I can't go into details a lot, but what I can say is how the industry works. And I would get emails from every tech website you've ever heard of, like anything you've ever Googled, like a Tom's Guide, all of these people. When you see the reviews on these sites and when you see the articles they write, a fat chunk of that is companies paying. Like, it's just how that shit works.
Yep.
And so you got to like think about it. People get mad about music payola, but like there is no media that has no payola. It is like, yes, there's like, look, I lose money to do this because I don't charge people. But if I charge people, I would be a profitable fucking enterprise.
No.
And I could probably get away with charging people if I really, you know, because then I could put money into ads and I would literally just take a chunk of that and boost everything. And
Facts.
oh my God, I got 15,000 views. You know, like, but like, to me, that's, I don't like charging artists in my city, at least. I don't know how I feel about other cities. Sorry, if you're not from Montreal. But like,
Facts, though. So it's time. It's about that time, you know. Especially the more you solidify your name in the city and outside the city, it's like your time is money, man.
and yo, once you start traveling, holy
Yeah, and it's not cheap to travel.
no, not at all. Even when you thankfully split it with a lot of people and reduce some of those costs.
Yeah.
But like, I can't afford to travel if I'm by myself. If I can't go with somebody right now, there's a 0% chance I can afford that trip. And like,
True. This is what we're trying to work for, is to like be able to do that, right?
yeah,
Because that's the most important part, is marketing and having content. Once you have those two things, you're gonna blow no matter what. There's people who have shit content. Whatever they're doing doesn't make sense, but because they have the content, because they're paying for the marketing, their product is growing.
or they invest the right way.
That too, right?
Because like, I'm going to New York in 2 weeks, right? And we're gonna go film a bunch of episodes of Perspectives. So in theory, if we film enough of this TikTok shit, enough of this food eating, enough of whatever, clock enough views off of the interviews we get, as long as like 4 or 5 figure, let's say 4 figures gets hit, we could probably then incentivize companies to start to subsidize shit. Just because you're going and you're making all this shit in New York, so Montreal people would be like, oh, hold on, how do I get my reach out there? But then New York has the crossover back to Montreal. So like you just have to make it interesting. So that's an investment, because you're putting time into creating all that content and, you know, eating food and all this other shit. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like through boosted ads. It just has to be through creating appealing shit, because organic's real. Like the way what you guys made with that like video where you're eating the mango off the floor, that quality of shit, yo, if it was just that every day, man, you guys would have.
That's the thing.
Followers.
That's what I keep telling him. Like, yo, once we get the funds to do what we want to do, people aren't ready. Like, it's like two pit bulls on a short leash with like meat just like out of their reach, like dangling. Like, the ideas we have are insane. It's just about getting the funding. Once the funding is there 100%, it's gonna be a problem. It's gonna be a friggin' problem. Like, we've been working on a lot of stuff, you know. We got scripts that I've been writing. Like, shit's about to get real once we get to that one point. That's the last thing missing, you know.
Yeah, I know it's coming. But yeah, it's definitely getting a bit later. I think we're past 10 at this point.
So fuck yeah.
Nah, we're almost at 3 hours, but fair enough. This is how it goes. This is why they go long. We just run it. You know?
Straight up.
And you guys are super interesting. Like, I mean, I feel like you're a mystery. I know 100% the feedback about you is that you're quiet and that nobody knows you're a watcher. And, like, you know, some people don't know nothing about you until you warm up to them, which could take 15 times.
It's that wizard life, you know.
Arguably, it takes a minute to get past the I don't give a fuck part of Jesse. But there's a warm, sensitive teddy bear deep down inside. Are you a good dude? Like, really deep down. Like, you're virtuous and shit. Like, on a real tip.
Yeah, man.
Like I said, honesty's key to me.
Glasses going across.
Loyalty's key to me. Just like, you know, like the ultimate perception of goodness, allowing someone to actually have fun within those boundaries, if you want to use that for lack of a better term. I believe in that shit. But when it comes to like religion, rules, authority,
But to be fair, if you want to get like really metaphysical on religion, because like I went through a whole Christian phase, but then like not a religious version, more like I read it literally, not through the lens of what the indoctrination is, and to me it's like mad subjective. Like, I believe me and God is cool because God told me to have a personal relationship with Jesus and all that. What does a personal relationship even mean? That means that and it's supposed to, like, if God told me the difference between right and wrong based on how the Christians put it, and it's a personal relationship, then how is you able to even tell me that my relationship with God is impacted by your ethics or what you believe is right? Thus, like, my moral code is real. I know there are ethical choices I make that people may judge me for. Fair enough. But my moral code is what it is, and I really do my best to, like, stick to that, even if it doesn't adhere to the legal system or the moral, especially the middle class. The middle class don't like Holden. I get along with rich people and poor people. The middle class people don't know what to do with me.
they like to follow though.
What?
They like to follow where they feel comfortable.
They think it's it's like drugs. I remember I'd be at work and people would like walk up to me and they would like trigger me. So I'd rant for like 8 minutes and then they'd hit like, leave a little comment and walk away. Like, that's the best way to describe how it would feel to like be in that. That's why COVID, I left. I haven't really been to the office even though I was working. So it was like at home. It's the first time in like my adult life where it wasn't like the conformity of being nice and normal, being like thrust down your throat because you got to eat lunch with these people. Anyway, y'all are mad interesting people. Your like journey is crazy cool. Like, they should make a movie out of this one day. When you have like lawyers.
We're working on some stuff still, cause
At the very least, the comic book strip can tell a truer story.
Yeah, the comic books. What's up?
facts.
Different price point or whatever, but like, I'd read that, The Adventures of Hache and Rozwel, superheroes running through it, retelling things. But I appreciate y'all giving me your time too and like coming through. Like, I know whatever we like, arguably compared to most of my guests, we'd be closer in terms of moving and performing and all this shit. So it's cool, but still, like, I feel like I don't really know you. I feel like I know you better now than I did like 3 hours ago. Really blessed. And like, your story is so rich and like, it makes sense for how y'all are the way that you are and staying true to yourselves with it. Everything I don't know, it clicks more.
It's a lot more, right?
But with that, like, thank y'all for watching it. Thank y'all for watching this. I forgot yours over there. I'm used to having it more like. I'm not used to this in-person thing. It's like my 5th one like this, and I have to keep changing the angles and shit. Anyway, but thank y'all for watching it. Appreciate those of you stuck around. I see 5 people still there. I have no idea who came on Facebook, but usually they leave faster on Facebook. But shout out whoever may be watching it there. Shout out everyone watching it in the future. You guys are appreciated too. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Make sure to follow them. They got the Smoking Ink official account, and there's the Rozwel Beats account. Then there's the Hache Real account. But like, make sure to go to Smoking Ink on whatever music platform that you have. And Ink is with a K.
That's right.
Don't put it with a C.
Yeah, it's ink, you know what I mean? Smoking ink. Those bars are
like,
fire.
Yo, and Lindell, like, go follow them. I think you may really like what they do musically. Like, next level shit to me. And the performance is stellar. Like, this guy's voice live is something special. Like, not to say you're not good, but like, his voice.
There's a reason why I made music with him, and I've always supported him. Like, I've done.
Oh my god, it's different. Like,
Facts.
It's different.
Or like different.
Yeah.
And yeah, so follow them, do all that cool shit, and then if you want to fuck with us here and support the whole movement of this show more fiscally, patreon.com/behindthatsuit, and then whatever, you know, like, follow, subscribe, all that shit, share with your friends, tell people to watch this. This is episode 171.
Shit.
So there are 170 more episodes of Bridge the Gap before this, and some surprising names that you may be like, how the fuck did that happen? Well, it did. So check it out and all that good shit. I don't know if you have any like last words you want to say to the people.
I'm gonna say this: do what you do, when you do it, how you do it.
Tell them.
But don't ever undermine what you do.
That's well said. That was. Yeah. So appreciate all of you watching. I guess it'll break 3 hours by the time I close out. We could stretch it for 10 seconds because Willie's like, you guys are just about there. Fair enough. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to get the raid going. And yo, live long and prosper, everybody. And it was a really cool time. Thanks.
Peace.
And now I'm going to do the raid part, which is where...